Hello and welcome, everybody. Today is another installment in the incredible adventures of the unsinkable Alice Baker, Alice in Egypt, Part 2. Today's title is The Library. We are in Cairo. It is the evening of a nondescript day. We don't know the date, but it's sometime in November, early November, and you have been invited by Pamela Baxter Strauss to meet her old friend, Clarice Thompson, who has been living in Egypt for 2 decades almost. Because Clarice's father, the late Major Thompson, passed away. And so basically, and she escorted the body to England where he was interred. And now she's back and she is actually, she would like some company, and she had invited Pamela, and Pamela had said, well, I've got friends, can they come with us, can they come with me? And she was very happy, and you had a very nice evening. And during that evening and the meal, which was very good, you learned that the late Major Thompson was a bibliophile. He really loved books, but he also believed that books should be made available to the public to read. So while he was a huge collector, he also had, his dream was to recreate the Library of Alexandria. And so he has been collecting books far and wide. He was stationed in the Raj at some point, which is also where Miss Thompson was born. And he had been collecting books there. He's in contact with booksellers, or was in contact with booksellers around the world, really. And since his death, she's noticed that some books have gone missing. And she tells you that she has no idea how this could happen. She believes that all of the servants that work for the family are basically above board and would never, ever commit theft or anything else. And especially since the books weren't really valuable. There were two books which you could have sold for some money, but not, making anyone rich. And she just can't explain how this has happened. And she also tells you that before his death, he had been visited by a book dealer that he had been, in contact with even previously, even buying books from him. And they had had interactions, and she believes that this person may have wanted to buy books from him, but she doesn't believe her father sold him any. And you have been given information about who lives in the household. So there is Heinz, that's his former batman. So he was his batman in the army, and when he retired from the army, he took him on as a butler. We have Mrs. Barton, who's the cook. She's been with the family. She joined them when she was 16 years old in the Raj as a helper in the kitchen, and then when they moved to Egypt, she came with them. Then we've got Fatma, the maid, Anwar, the gardener, and Benu, the driver. And I can't read my own writing. Majid, but I don't know what he does. But he's there as well. So anyway, she just believes that also they've been paying their servants really well. So she would really be surprised if they would stoop so low as to steal from her. And she's told you that it's a 3-story building: ground floor, first floor, second floor, and that the whole first floor is actually the library. Mm-hmm. So she would have her room on the second floor, her mother as well, but her mother has been in England to care for an elderly ailing aunt for almost a year now, so she's not here. And then there would have been servants' quarters on the ground floor behind the kitchen. So that's the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. You have just finished dessert. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to do?
I would like to have a look around the library.
Okay.
So I would ask Clarice if she would mind just show us around a bit up there, also showing us ins and out, just to be sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she basically invites you, and she takes you upstairs. And she takes you up the stairs, and you get to the landing, and even on the landing, you see bookshelves. And then she opens the door to the room that would be the salon on the ground floor. And you can see that it's basically that any wall that isn't a bearing wall, they would have taken out. And you see a huge, huge, huge library. There are shelves, floor to ceiling, on the walls, everywhere. There are shelves, 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 shelves.
Mm-hmm.
It's all full of shelves, books, but very orderly. And there's also one of those registers where you can basically, the ones where you have like the little pieces of paper, the slips. So it's like a catalog,
Mm-hmm.
or it is the catalog, the library catalog. And you smell books.
I would turn around to Clarice. I would be like, "This is an outstanding collection."
Yeah, my father was very proud of it. He lived here, he loved here.
But you seem to be as well, because finding out books are missing in this high amount of books is also quite impressive.
Well, it's, and unlike my bookshelf, they didn't really have several books behind each other, but
Mhm.
it's just one row each. And basically, you can tell when there is something missing. And she
Okay.
says, well, over here, and the books that are missing are actually quite sizable. They were quite big, so it does stand out. And and she points to 6 places where books definitely have been taken.
Mhm.
And she says, yeah, and it's a really strange collection. So, for example, my father owned a first edition of the Iliad. Um, it's a bilingual edition, and it's the Cambridge translation. And the one by Loewe. And she says it like this is something that should mean something to you.
Mhm.
And it's a first edition, but it's not really valuable. I mean, there are plenty of first editions that you can buy. If you were to buy it now, you probably have to pay £20. But yes, that is a lot of money, but it's not valuable. And then and then she names a couple of other books that have been missing. And then she says, and there's one that my father had bound here. I don't actually know what is in it, because he just called it a collection of ancient scripture. So I don't really know what kind of books or scripture that was, but that's what it says on the library card. And she holds out the card because she has actually taken the cards of the books that are missing out from the catalogue and has placed them
Mhm.
there, obviously trying to find out what the story is.
Alice would definitely take note of the books.
Hmm.
I don't. Would she have? I don't think she would have her little notebook with her, because she was just thinking about, hey, we will have a nice evening out.
Hmm.
But she will just try to memorize everything. It's not that many amount of books. I think we can do that. And well, thank goodness your father was a well organized and sorted man, so it's easy then to track.
She she takes this as a compliment.
It was meant as a compliment. So then let's see. Alice would have a look around. Are there windows? Because there must be windows on this floor.
Hmm. Yes, there are windows.
And she would go over to each of them and would investigate if it looks like someone tampered with them, if they are locked from inside or not,
Hmm.
just to have an idea what kind of windows that is.
Okay, so you can see without even a spot hidden that they are not locked, and they're also not lockable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can give me a spot hidden.
Let's see. And Well, yes, a success. I will give 2 luck to make it happen.
And you actually notice that there is a little bit of dust on the windowsill, so it actually looks like they have not been opened in a while.
Mm-hmm. She would carefully try and see if she can lift it a little bit. She just wants to see if they open without problems.
There are those kind of like those little
Where you have the hooks and then you
turny
can.
things,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so you basically turn them.
Yep.
They are turnable, but they're kind of a little bit stiff.
Mm-hmm.
So again, probably not oiled well. And when you turn them and you lift up the window, you can lift them up.
Okay, she
They
would
do
just do
open.
it a little bit, but she would peek out. We are on the first floor, right? She would look
Um,
on the
mhm.
windowsill outside just to see if she can see anything outside on the windowsill. Like
It's
prints or whatever. It's dark anyhow, so it's a question how much we would see.
Yeah, it is dark. And there is you do see stuff, and that is probably sand, like maybe sand from the desert. You don't know. Since you've been here, it hasn't rained,
Mm-hmm.
so there is, and you can't really see anything on the windowsill.
Okay, then I will just close the window carefully again. Fasten everything again.
Hmm.
Um, well, I'm quite sure they did not come through the window. Then it's a question if you would mind showing me the entrance doors to the house. Because I'm quite sure it's not only the front door, you will have a back door for sure, right?
Oh no, we do. It's behind the servants' quarters. If you will follow me,
Yep.
and she takes you downstairs. You go downstairs. She shows you through the kitchen where you can see the cook and possibly Fatma, the maid. They are
Mm-hmm.
basically washing up and cleaning the dishes and that kind of thing. And they curtsy when they see you. And she basically says, "Don't mind us. We just want to look at the back door."
But
You
before we
know,
pass by, the food was amazing. Thank you so much for cooking this amazing meal.
Mrs. Barton smiles and nods. She's obviously happy with this. So you go through,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come to the back door, which is not a big door. So it's like a normal door, like in today's
Yep.
flats that we have. So it's made of wood. It's got a lock that you can lock from the inside or the outside. And it's got a bolt on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's like not super sturdy or anything. It's just a normal wooden door.
Do you usually lock it at night?
Oh yes, we lock it and we bolt it.
Okay. Alice will never how have a closer look at the outside of the door
Mhm.
just to see, although she highly doubts if there's really also bolt. It's really hard to come by, but she will look from the outside if she can see any tampering with the lock.
Spot hidden.
28. That's a hard success.
Um, no, you don't notice anything, but what you do notice is that this door is used quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that the hinges are oiled. Basically, you can also notice that the bolt has like it's like this black metal.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you can see where the bolt gets moved. So there's like a little bit of a scratching on the metal bit. So you would say that this is moved very often. You can also say that you can also see that it goes out onto a garden and that there is a water tap there. So probably the gardener goes in and out a lot. Maybe even the kitchen staff go in and out a lot. So what you see is a very well used door.
Good. And then Alice will turn around and would like to have a look as well at the front door.
Okay. The front door is has two door blades, as it were. And that one has really like a big lock, and it's it's a heavy door,
Mm-hmm.
very heavy wood, metal fastenings, and also two bolts. And you can also see that it's like only one door will always open. The other one also has like bolts that go up
Mm-hmm.
and down. So one goes into the door frame at the top, and then one goes into the floor. So basically, unless you push one up and pull the other down, this door would not open anyway,
Okay.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you mean.
And this one, well, it's a well-used door, and you can see again that people have been, and you don't need to roll for this because you now know what you're looking for anyway. There are scratches on the lock when people just have tried to unlock it and have missed the keyhole,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like somebody was trying to break in.
Okay. Hmm. Well, it doesn't seem like someone tried to or got inside by a lockpick or anything like that. Did you have any guests in the last days outside of us?
Well, there was the wake, so we had plenty of guests that uh, paid the last respects to the major.
Did you realize that the books went missing before or after?
No, it was after. To be honest,
You had other things in
when when
mind.
when he died after the wake, we basically shipped him his body
Mm-hmm.
back to England, and I went with the body. And it wasn't until I came back that I actually went into the. It was hard in the beginning to go back to the library.
I can imagine that.
So I don't know, but I think if the books had gone missing while he was still alive, he would have seen it immediately, and he would have told me.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
He knew every single book.
I don't think someone would dare to take it when he was still there, but they used the small gap in between where everything settled. I think it would be good if you keep eyes and ears open and tell me as soon as more books are disappearing.
You think more will disappear?
I don't know, but we should have an eye on this topic. And if you would at least maybe ask the servants if during the wake anything weird happened, weird guests were there, anything they can remember.
Well, I've got a guest list,
Well,
and I mean these were people that we invited. So uh, most of them I knew personally,
yeah.
and they would have been at the house. There were four members of his regiment that I hadn't met yet, but that I knew that he would visit. He would go to the club, and they are also here in Cairo. So basically, it was important that they came, and they did. They did come, and they stood wake all night at his coffin. So that was how he wanted it. I had not met them before, but they were my father's age, and Heinz knew them from his army days. So everybody else I know.
If you don't mind, I would at least like to have a look at the
At the list,
list,
of course, I can. I
just
that
in
yeah, no,
case
but
later on a name crosses the
absolutely,
way, just that I maybe
yeah.
make a connection.
She gives you a list, and it's actually you can tell from the list that this was probably the list that they made, wrote out by hand, and then each name has a tick mark. So probably they would have then sent out the invitations
Uh-huh.
by that list, kind of like going through it, and it's a list of 31 people. And some of them have military titles like major, like commander, um, and all of them are English names except for three. Those are Egyptian sounding
Mm-hmm.
names.
I would assume the book merchant is not on the list, right?
Now, no, Karim Al
Mm-hmm.
Maliki is not on the
Good.
list, but somebody named Danya is. No last name.
For all the other names, there are last names on it.
Yeah.
Then Alice would put the finger on the name because she would not ask to everyone in the list about backstory. But if there's one name without a last name, it would be like, this name sticks out a little. No last
And
name.
oh, she doesn't need a last name. This is Dania. She is one of the most famous singers here in Egypt, probably the most famous singer here in Egypt. She must be 60, in her 60s at this stage. She doesn't perform anymore, but she is one of the cultural ambassadors for her country. And and now that she doesn't sing anymore, she does do poetry recitals, of course in Arabic. But my father met her during one of those sessions, but that was 20 years ago. So they've known each other for a good while, and they would move in the same circles. And she would perform. He would get invitations. He would organize book readings as well. She would attend. Um, but I honestly don't think that even she remembers her last name. She has a very interesting. Well, when she was born in one of the very, very poor parts of Egypt, in a very small village, to illiterate parents. But apparently, she had the most beautiful voice. So she was trained as a singer. She came to Cairo, and she didn't start to read and write until she was 15. And she had a stellar career as a singer of traditional Arabic Egyptian music. And that career spanned 40 years. She retired 10 years ago from singing. But like I said, she's still doing poetry recitals.
The question is if one on this list to your mind would be a close acquaintance to your father, that he would maybe also share book ideas, what he's thinking of buying, or, well, not really selling, rather buying.
Uh, well, I mean,
Next to you, obviously.
well, I would like to point out that my father didn't really speak very much to me about literature. We spoke about other things. But uh, she points to a man, and she says, that person here, Anthony Mayhew. Anthony Mayhew is, well, he deals in antiquities, like Egyptian,
Mm-hmm.
and he would sell this, like strictly legal Egyptian antiquities that can be sold.
Yep.
I mean, there are many people who do shady dealings that basically go and steal mummies and sell them. And those mummy unwrapping parties. We have nothing to do with this, nor does Anthony.
Yep.
But every so often, there are pottery can be found. I mean, you go outside of Cairo, 500 meters next to the street, next to the road, and you dig in the sand for 5 minutes, and you will find pottery. You will find shards. There are too many to even catalog. So the Ministry of Antiquities does allow a contingent of these antiquities to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you have to do is you have to have them inspected, and then somebody will say, yes, it's fine. And then you
If
will
they're
get,
not extra special, yeah.
indeed, and then you will get a certificate of authenticity and of the provenance, and it is stamped by the Egyptian state, and you can legally sell them. And that's what Anthony does. I mean, some of these, I mean, he even has like, full-blown pottery that hasn't disintegrated, little statues of the gods, because there are just so many.
That might be
And
interesting.
he's also into literature, and of course he's also into books, and of course you can find books here in Cairo, and so the two of them would have been exchanging information on that as well. So they would have been. I wouldn't say that they were close friends, but they definitely had an interest, a shared interest.
Would you by any chance have an address of the
Of
antique
course.
store?
And she gives you the address.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, I think that's all we can do for now. I will do more investigation and I will keep you up to date. But it's a question if we just want to sit down together and now enjoy the rest of the evening like we should. I'm already taking too much time.
And she smiles, and then she basically invites you to the you go back to the salon, you sit down. And yeah, and you have. She's also a smoker, so she and Pamela smoke quite heavily. Um,
Alice joins in.
yeah, as Dottie was saying, since she got back from the dead, you drink a lot more, but you smoke a lot less.
I think Alice smokes if the occasion is for it, just in company. She will by
Yeah,
far not smoke probably as much as the other two, but she will still have a cigarette in her hand.
yeah. So you smoke, and yeah, and then after a while, like it's now quite late. I would say it's past midnight. There's also alcohol.
As it should be. Poor Dottie.
Yeah,
Alice would in between peek over how Dottie is doing.
she rolled a 25, which is a good roll for any of her stats, even including cooking. So she is fine. She's being Dottie, the person who basically will be overlooked by everyone.
Okay.
So nobody notices that she's there. And then after a while, even the unstoppable Pamela becomes a little bit tired, and she says, "Well, Clarice, darling, I think I should get a move on.
I think we should
It's been
move
lovely."
together because we have the same way.
Of course. And Pamela says, but before she can even say anything, she says, Bennu will drive you. And Bennu, she rings for Bennu. He's wearing a chauffeur's uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, if you wouldn't mind taking the three ladies to the Continental. And he says, "Of course, madam." And he escorts you. She brings you to the door, and he brings around the car.
The only thing that Alice would do, she would pull out her PI card out of her handbag because she would definitely have one of them in there. And she would just point out, just you have something, but yeah, you can reach me at the Continental. And
Thank
she
you
would
very
put
much.
her room number on there as well, that she
Hmm.
knows where to ring through.
Hmm. Okay.
And we will do some investigation.
Hmm. And Bennu comes around and with the car, and he drives you to the Continental. And you arrive. He takes off his hat to you after he's opened the door, and you walk out. And then he closes the door, and of course there is a bellhop who
Mm-hmm.
basically opens the door for you. And you give me a spot hidden, please.
That is a success.
Okay, you notice that Bennu doesn't get into his car until you all have walked through the door, and only then does he actually walk round, get into his car, and drive off. So he's been watching you go in,
Mm-hmm.
almost to make sure that you don't get lost on the way. Like
Right.
those 5 steps. Who knows what's going to happen. So do you go to your room, or do you still have a go to the bar and have a nightcap with?
No, I think we would go up to the room.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way, would clearly have a little bit of a chit chat. But well, Pamela, darling, it was a delight to meet Clarice. She is a lovely girl,
I'm glad you enjoyed it. She is a very, very lovely girl. Yeah.
and but for now, I think a bit of sleep is not the worst idea.
Well, I shall see you around. You know
Yes.
my room number.
Yeah, same. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I'll have a lion tomorrow.
that
Breakfast in bed.
that sounds quite lovely. We will see how we start the day. Then we would probably bring Pamela to her room, just drop her off
Mm-hmm.
there, wish her good night, and then
Mm-hmm.
move to our
Mm-hmm.
suite and
Mm-hmm.
get
Yeah,
to
you arrive in
bed.
your suite. Nobody's broken in. Everything is the way
Very
it should be.
nice.
Okay. You go to bed.
Yes. And Alice will mention to Dottie that tomorrow breakfast will be later than normal.
Dottie nods. Do you actually still want to do the mocha cook-off in front of Pamela to see who makes the better?
Yes, but not tomorrow morning.
Okay, no, I'm just wondering.
It's still on the
Okay,
to-do
just
list.
so that I don't forget about it.
No,
Okay,
no.
so you go to bed.
Yep.
Do you read some or do you?
I think Alice will just get into her sleep clothing, just wash her face, and just face plant into the bed and just curl up.
Give me a power check.
God. Oh, it might be a success. Pow is a success. 39.
You sleep.
Good.
Do you set an alarm? Sorry, before you go to sleep, do you set an alarm clock or you just wake up when you wake up?
She will set an alarm clock, but it will be an hour later than usual.
So around about 8 then?
Yeah.
Okay. At 8 o'clock, the alarm goes off.
Alice will turn around one time and then she will be like, no, it's breakfast. Come on, girl. And she will just get up, get herself decent, and then she will tiptoe out to see and prepare some breakfast.
Okay. You go out, you prepare some breakfast. And
I would have a look around if Dottie was already up.
Dottie is not up.
Good.
So you prepare breakfast?
Yep.
Do you go and wake her?
Yeah, when breakfast is ready, more or less, I would knock on her bedroom door.
Yes, I'm coming.
Then Alice would just turn around, go back, set the rest of the table, and then
So
we have
Dottie
breakfast.
opens the door. She's wearing her nightgown. Well, she's wearing her morning robe over her nightgown. She has not even done her hair, so she has very long, very brown hair, which actually comes down to kind of like her upper arm, so it's in a braid. And she says, "Oh, excellent for breakfast."
I tried mocha again. Not sure how well I should do cooking again. Whoop. Oh God. That is an 87. It's horrible. Probably, honestly, we will have tea there because Alice would be like, no, we can't drink that.
Okay, so she will try it, and she says,
it went total out of hand. I was definitely too tired to concentrate. The water is not right. The coffee amount is not right.
"Yeah, I think this is an art, and I think people here have just perfected it. It's just going to take time. We will manage at some point."
Is tea okay, or do you just want
Of
a normal
course.
coffee?
No.
We still have our coffee that we brought with
Tea
us.
is fine.
Good.
Alice.
Noted, with a little smile. If not, we can go out and grab a nice mocha outside on the way. The question is if you have any plans for today.
No, not really. I just thought, we've had plans every day of the week. I mean, we will have to think about what we want to have for dinner tonight, because as you know, if it's going to be meat or fish, we will have to kind of make arrangements downstairs so that somebody takes us to the fishmonger or to the butcher's just before I start cooking. But other than that, it's last night was for some reason it was quite tiring. I think it's been a long time since I've been up this long, which is true because she doesn't usually.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a lovely but long evening. I was just curious if we would grab a driver and visit a certain book merchant and maybe then an antique store. And on the way afterwards, we can do some food shopping.
Why am I not surprised, Alice?
Well, the case sounds intriguing, and I'm honestly quite shocked about anyone who would dare to steal books from someone who just died.
Of course, we can go to the book merchant, but remember one thing: they are in the bad part of town.
Yes. So everything that is worth something, we are not taking with us.
So we'll leave you behind.
Very funny. I'll have my gun with us. It will be fine.
She looks at you. She says, "I wasn't joking."
You are worth more than I am.
She smiles at you and she says, "Yeah, not hardly."
Yes, very much so. I would not be here without you, so definitely. Then let's just point it we are worth the same. We
Yeah.
both don't want to get hurt or
Yeah,
die
let's
or
just make sure that
anything.
we take care of each other and look out for each other.
Exactly. But Alice would get up with tea in her hand and would go to the phone, and she would call the reception to
Mm-hmm.
ask for a driver around 10:30.
A driver can be arranged. It's not a problem at all. So basically, how this is done is you can charge them to your room
Yep.
or you can pay them directly.
She would
It's up
pay
to you.
them. She would pay directly.
Okay. So you basically have a leisurely breakfast.
Yep. Then we would get ready in peace and quiet.
And you go downstairs. There is a driver waiting for you. And he looks at you and he says, "Madam," and he opens the door for you, and then he says, "Madam," and he opens the door for Dottie, and he says, "Where shall I take you?"
Alice would give the address of the book merchant with the sentence, it would be nice if you stay close by. It will not take long.
But madam, this is the Fagala. This is not a good part of town.
We know, but we still need to talk too.
Are you sure?
Yes,
It
indeed.
is. It can be dangerous.
We know.
All right. I feel not good about it, but I will do it.
Thank you very much. And you warned us, so don't feel guilty.
Make a psychology roll.
No.
Okay.
84 is far off.
He drives you to the Fagala, and he finds the address, and he says, "But madam, I will park out here, and I will wait for you.
Yes, and we will be quick, thank you.
No need to be quick. Just please do come out at the front door."
We intend to do so.
Good.
Alice
he
would have
parks the
given him
car.
a tip as well, just to be safe and sound that he's not leaving, because that would be the worst case scenario. And then Alice would either, if the door is open, peek inside, or knock on the door if the door is closed.
Well, the door is open, and it also has a shop window, so you can see books in there.
Then she will step inside.
You step inside, and you see a bookshop, and you see a man. He's got a beard. He's wearing a fez type headgear, and he's wearing a kaftan, and he is sipping tea from one of those glasses that you've seen people drink tea from in this country.
Then she would basically say hello. I'm not sure if she would have caught up by now what you say in Egypt to say hello, because I have honestly no idea. I know Arabic version. I'm not sure if there's a Egypt one as well.
I would say it's probably Arabic because, I mean, that's the language that they speak. So whatever it is that they say, do they say salam?
I think it would be something with salam.
Yeah. Well, I would say that Alice has done her research and she knows exactly how to do this, and she does it, and he will reply in kind.
And do you speak English by any chance?
Of course, madam.
We're here to maybe find some special books.
Oh, how special are we talking, madam?
Well, not the one that everyone has and can easily get. We heard that you might have quite nice options because our good friend, and now I'm looking for the name of Clarice's father.
Major Thompson.
That is it. And the last name, let me see. Do I have a last name for Clarice?
Clarice Thompson. You don't know his
Thompson.
first name.
There we have General Thompson.
Major.
Major.
He's not a
I
general.
wrote
He's
down
not that far.
General.
Major Abraham Thompson.
Major Abraham. Get the names right. Well, my friend, or I'm friends with the Thompson family. I heard that you also worked here and there together with the dear Major Thompson.
Oh yes. May Allah have mercy on his soul.
Yes, he's definitely gone too soon from all of us, but well, he pointed out that you might at least be a good point and thing.
Of course, he would buy books from me. He would bring me pages, and I would have them wrapped, bound.
We would be looking for any kind of more older stories, preferably from around here.
Egyptian folklore
Yes,
in the English language.
best case. If there is anything translated. I know that's hard to find and come by.
Well, I do have books from the English language, in the English language, from the Arabic,
Then if we...
and of course, 1001 Nights. So he has this, obviously, and there are other books. So the thing is, there are translations, but they are actually quite new. So
Yeah.
he does have those.
Yeah.
But those would not be the old books. So when you look at old books, what you do find are papyri.
Yeah.
So basically really bound up papyri.
The thing is, Alice does not understand anything like Arabic or Egypt, so it will not help her to have that. She would go and she would have a look at a few of the books.
So yeah, you do when you even look at them, you also find again you find it's actually books that are new, kind of like new, maybe so 40 50 years old. And some of them contain hieroglyphic texts, some of them contain Arabic texts, a lot of them contain Greek texts, because obviously Alexander the Great,
Yep.
basically his Ptolemaeus was of course Greek, and and his descendants even spoke Greek. So Greek was used as a language in Egypt by the pharaohs as well. So, for example, what's her name? Girlfriend of Mark Antony and Caesar, famous
Cleopatra.
queen. Exactly, she spoke Greek. Cleopatra was Greek was her native language. So there are many Greek texts available.
Alice,
and Latin texts, of course,
I think Latin,
because of course the Romans were here as well.
Latin would be rather the way where Alice would be going, because Greek, she knows a few words, probably not more, but Latin, she has at least a basic training and understanding.
So you have like the texts by Caesar, Tacitus, you name it, it's all there.
She would, I think, things about Cleopatra she would find quite intriguing, and
there are history books as well. Yeah,
like
no problem.
going through books, she would just like, are you Mr. Al-Maliki yourself? Just to be curious.
Yes, Karim Al-Maliki.
Baker, Alice
service.
Baker. Really nice to meet you. We will be here for quite a while, so it might be that we swing by again.
Of course. Can I offer you some tea?
Well, thank you. Yes.
And he offers you tea
Mm-hmm.
in glasses, and it's this really sweet tea. So it's basically sweetened as it comes out of his
Yeah.
pot. So
Oh, and Alice would have introduced Dottie as her partner in crime, literally.
Dottie says hi.
And in between, Alice would just have a look around. She would try to also get a feeling for Kareem, like the usual, just a gut feeling. Is that someone that is charming and nice, or is it rather someone where you're like? So she would also ask him for some prizes just to get an idea if he's someone who's trying to rip people off. Although she
And what he
highly
actually
suspects
does is
now.
he says that the price of each book is written in pencil on the last page. And if it's a book that doesn't have a last page because it's papyrus, then you will find a piece of paper in it. So he actually doesn't give you a price
Mm-hmm.
when you hold something up,
Yep.
but it's all pre-priced.
That is unusual for that area. So, yeah, not too bad. Alice will look at the prices, and I could imagine for him, if he made deals with Major as well, that the pricing is at least decent.
You can now give me an appraise check. I've always wanted to do
God.
this because actually, Dottie has a
Without
skill in this.
lying, I rolled a 1. Because I
And
have
what
no
is
skill in that. The
okay? In that
5.
case, please roll a d10.
The 5 is the 5%.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I
no,
have
please roll a d10.
That's a d10. That is a 2.
Okay, so you get 7 in appraise. You can increase your appraise skill from 5 to 7 immediately because you rolled a
Thank
1.
you.
Now, you know people, you know art, and
And
you
books as
have
well.
been speaking to Alex Coxton,
Mm-hmm.
who is at the Met, and there was a book exhibition once. And she really basically chewed your ear off talking about books, and she sent you the catalog. And you have kind of like a feeling for books
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And you would say that the books are reasonably priced. They are not cheap, but they are also not overwhelmingly expensive in terms of that he's trying to sell you something for gold that isn't gold.
Yeah. Then
You would also say that a lot of these books are not rare, and he doesn't make them out to be rare. But then there are a couple of, like the papyrus bound ones. There he's got a high price on them, but you would say, it is
should be
papyrus,
yeah.
and you can tell that they have been bound. Probably he had them bound together for some reason, and he made a choice of which of the papyri would go together. And you have a feeling that, and also what strikes you, because you said this earlier as well, this is unusual. He's not trying to find out what you as a customer wants and then puts a high price on this, but he has made a decision what those books should cost, and he's making this available so that
Because here around we definitely had more the feeling often of you are just discussing a price always.
yeah.
You go low, they go high, and you meet in the middle, depending
Yeah.
on how well you can handle. So this is rather unusual, at least for the so
So
far.
if he has 6 sons, he's not going to use them as a bargaining chip when he tries
Yeah, and
to get
he's
you
not trying to be
pay.
extra charming. So for the extremely beautiful young lady,
He is friendly.
price.
He is friendly, but he's also not trying to interest you in stuff.
Alice would buy one book just for the scenery of it. She would buy one book about probably Cleopatra in Greek, just one that sticks out to her. She would buy
In Greek or in Latin?
Oh, in Latin. Sorry, in Latin.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And just that she isn't that they go out with the book, not to really.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And okay, you do this, and do you want to talk to him some more, or do you want
I think
to...
in between she would just let fall like I had the pleasure of having a look around quite a bit in the library of the dear. I still want to see General. It's Major.
It's Major.
Have you ever had a chance to see? Insane what that man collected over the years. He
was a very good customer of mine. He bought plenty of books from me.
That is, and he bought everything, not only English, right?
He had the creed of saying everybody should be able to read everything,
which is true.
So he couldn't read those books himself, but he said he's gonna keep them for those who can. He wanted to recreate the old Library of Alexandria.
I've seen also some ancient scrolls and things between them, and some of them were bound.
Oh, yes.
Was there by any chance your work? Because they looked really pretty put together.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for all of them, but he has come to me with requests for binding.
Also, on that, I might come back to you then as well. I'm
Of
still collecting
course.
and searching, but as I said,
Very good.
we just arrived a few days ago, so I have enough time to do more shopping damage. And she
He
would just
smiles.
smile. She would be quite charming self at the moment. And but now, so that one book is definitely something I have to take immediately because I know it's not the rarest, but I haven't seen it yet, and it really seems interesting. And the
Of
bonus is
course.
I can read it at least. And Alice would pay the
Mhm.
price that is in the book. She would not try to haggle. She would just
He will also not let you haggle.
be the
He will
price that
just
it
basically,
is.
he will actually take the book from you, look at the back,
Mm-hmm.
basically where the price is written down, and then he says,
Yep. And
I
Alice
don't
would
know,
just
50 piastres or whatever it is,
Alice
and
would
then he
pay.
wraps it into paper, and then he puts a string around it.
Well, thank you again for the lovely time, for the
Not at all.
wonderful
Do
book,
come back.
and for the tea. Have a successful rest of the day.
Thank you.
And then she would put the goodbye or good day in Arabic at the end,
Mhm.
and then she would just nod. And with Dottie, we would step back outside. The poor driver
Mhm.
standing out there waiting and waiting and waiting. But well,
He's actually sitting there, and he. I mean, he has got tea.
then we would step outside,
Mhm.
book under
He
the arm.
gets out the car. He opens the door for you, and he says, "Madam."
Thank you for waiting.
Of course. And then he goes around and he opens the door again for Dottie. Madam. Dottie sits down and then he says, "Where to now?"
Another shop, but I think that is a better part of town, and she would give the address of the antique store of Mr. Mayhew.
Okay, so you go to Anthony Mayhew's antique store.
Hmm.
And it is an antique store in the better part of town, absolutely. And it is an antique store where where you can see lots of Egyptian stuff.
Yep.
And there are white people standing outside looking at the what you call it, the window, looking through the window and looking at the wares that he has on display. And do you go inside?
Yeah, she would look if the store is open, and then she would
Yeah, the
step
door is
inside.
open.
And
Mhm.
she would ask
Yep.
again the driver to wait, give him a little bit of money, and
The driver's fine waiting.
then stepping inside.
Yeah, you step inside. It's well, he sells he doesn't sell books. He sells rugs. He sells antiquities, statues, pictures, paintings. Some of which you would say are probably not even antiques, but maybe just pictures of Egypt, like landscapes and stuff. Paintings, no photography,
Hmm.
and yeah, and so basically it's quite a it's not as big as Liz's shop. I mean, because her antique store is huge, so it's actually rather small, um, and you would say mid-priced
Hmm.
stuff. So some antiquities, but it's not really antiques, like And we discussed this, so it's all stuff that you would find when you just dig a little. And yeah, and it's probably Mr. Mayhew. There's a man standing there. He's in his late 40s. He's a little bit older than Clarice, you would say. And he is talking to a man who's also white.
Hmm.
And the two of them are looking at a uh, yeah, at a bust. It's a replica of the bust of Nefertiti.
Alice would just have a careful look around and just wait
Mhm.
for them to be done.
Yeah, and then the man
But she would
and
listen in.
mhm. So the two of them are discussing the bust, and he basically says, "Well, if you want to see the original, you will have to go to Berlin." And so the two of them discuss the bust itself, and of course also the person that this bust shows. Obviously, some say that this is probably one of the most beautiful pieces of Egyptian art because it's very lifelike.
Mm-hmm.
And then they discuss, and Anthony Mayhew, you presume that's him, says, well, her name means the beautiful one has arrived, and when you look at this face, I think it's a very good moniker. And so the two of them obviously decide that this man is going to buy this. He pays, so the bust will then be wrapped, and he will deliver it in a wooden crate. The bust itself is quite big, so you think that it's probably a real replica, even when it comes to size. So it's about this big, like 30 to 40 centimeters high. And the person gives an address. He's a tourist, and he's staying at the Savoy, and he's going to deliver it to the Savoy.
Nice. Yeah,
And
when that
that's,
man leaves, Alice would step towards the counter.
Madam.
Mr. Mayhew, I presume?
Yes, you presume right. And
Alice Baker, my name, and she would just stretch
he
out
kisses
the
your
hand.
hand.
And
Yeah, well.
Clarice Thompson gave me your name. So,
Oh, did she now? How is Clarice doing?
well, let's say hanging in there is probably the best way to point it out. I
Yeah.
think she's still suffering a lot with the quite unplanned end of her father's life.
Yes, it was a shock to all of us when he died.
I'm very sorry that I never had really the chance to meet him.
Yes, he was a very interesting man.
I'm quite impressed about the book collection that he set up. That is
Oh yes, the book collection.
amazing.
I always called it Little Alexandria.
Oh, he was
He wanted to
definitely...
recreate the Library of Alexandria in his home and wanted to make it available to the public. I'm pretty sure that somewhere in his will he's probably bequeathing it to someone, possibly the Egyptian government. Who knows? But how can I help you?
Two things. So first of all, I'm looking for a gift bringing back home. So my mother has
All right, and where is
quite
home?
New York City.
Oh, I see.
My mother has quite delected taste. So I would be curious if you have anything that you would be like maybe pointing out that might be interesting for a nice New York State estate house that would not get lost between other
In
things.
terms of get lost,
It needs to stick out a little bit. It needs to be
Oh, I
something
see.
impressive, not the usual stuff.
well, the usual stuff would be a bust of Nefertiti,
Which looks pretty?
but it's not what you're looking for.
No.
Well,
So either something to hang on the wall, to put on a shelf, or to wear if you would have also something like jewelry.
jewelry.
Just in case you have something. I know you also depend on what you can get to resell.
Well, I will have to tell you that if anyone ever finds jewelry, selling it would be illegal. I mean, the Egyptian state is very, very clear on this. So I do have some jewelry, but I will tell you this is replica.
Good.
It's replicas. They are made of solid gold.
Mhm.
I can give you the provenance of that. They are definitely replicas of real Egyptian jewelry, but they can never be genuine. And if somebody tells you otherwise, they're either lying or they are a thief.
Good to know for my more excursions through the city and see what I can find there. I think my mother would like to have something authentic, so maybe then rather something that you can put up and look at.
Um, Understated or in your face? And he's very upfront.
In your face.
In your face. How about a vase?
That might be a good option.
I'll have to Google something because I'm not sure if this is actually what I think it is. It just popped into my head. And he basically takes you to a space where there are vases.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what I meant. Ah, yes. Mm-hmm. He basically shows you something that is it is a vase that is made of a material that is almost see-through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of bluish. And it isn't very big. It's maybe this big.
Yeah.
And it's got two holders. And he says, well, this is a drinking cup.
Mm.
It is around the time of the Caesars. So it's round about 2,000 years old. It's Egyptian, but it's not first or second empire. It is Cleopatra's time.
And a really amazing shape.
Yes, it is one of the. But I mean, please, and he takes it and he turns it around where he says, "Well, it's chipped out down here." It is 2,000 years old. And there are plenty of those. I will let you know. It's not a unique thing. Otherwise, I would not be able to sell it. It's something that I'm pretty sure if somebody told you Cleopatra drank from this, they would be a liar as well. It is something that Egyptian people could afford. Not everybody, not the poorest, but it was a drinking cup that you would find in normal Egyptian homes.
But it's really pretty. I will definitely bring that one home.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is. I have to say that I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't think it would suit. It is very pretty. So it's when you think of it, it's more like faience.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it looks like, but a little different in that it's really, in some areas you can actually see through because it's so fine.
Yeah.
And he says, well, this one is there. I've got several of these, but they all have the same shape and they all have the same color tone. It's blue, but of course it's kind of like this swirling blue. So he shows you different ones. So the blue and the white basically have different proportions, if you like,
ratios. Alice will pick one that she finds quite pretty in ratio. And so first piece found, and then I would be curious if you have anything with the goddess Bastet.
The goddess Bastet.
Well,
I've got a bust of her.
Well, that or anything.
Well, I mean, one of those figurines. She's quite common. I mean, you can find her in plenty of places. Yes.
Or anything else with a cat. Because we have our own little goddess at home and she's making quite the impression.
Well, he can show you actually little figurines of Bastet.
Yeah.
And they're usually in black stone.
Alice would look and see if she can find a smaller one that looks quite pretty.
Yeah, they are. He's got really small ones.
No, bigger ones, like
okay. So ones that
maybe
because
that size of.
Okay, yeah, that is not a problem at all. They are made from words fail me.
I will also take a German
Ton.
word. Clay.
Clay. Yeah, exactly. They're clay, painted black, and then of course the face is painted on. And he says, and then they were glazed, so that's why they are quite. And he says again, I've got one of these, only the one in this size, and again he points out that it's a little bit chipped, so he's very clear on. He's pointing out the problems with the piece.
So he seems to be quite honest.
He also, when he sold you the cup for your mother, you get a certificate that states that it can be legally exported from Egypt, and he tells you to really hold on to this.
Yes.
And when you leave the country, they will ask you, "Are you taking anything with you?" And he asks you to list it.
And have
to
the
fill in the
papers
form
ready.
to list it, and if they want to. But he also gives you a second piece where he basically where the whole thing is described, and it also mentions that there is a chip
Mm-hmm.
where it's broken, and it actually details where, so that you know
It's unique
it's
enough that
all
they know.
it's unique
Yeah.
enough so that you also know this is
Yep.
and basically if you want this little figurine of the goddess bastard, then he
Yes,
can give it to you and he will sell it to you.
that would
And
be
again the same
something.
thing. Again the
And
same thing, certificate
yeah.
and information on where the problems with the piece lie.
And well, that was the first part of the business. The second business is I was just curious, did the dear Major discuss anything around his collection? Because we found out that something has gone missing, and I would be curious
What do you
who.
mean something's gone missing?
Well,
Psychology check.
yeah, let's do that. Big no. Let me see. My psychology. No, a big no.
um well, I mean, to be quite honest, he spoke at length about his
Oh,
collection.
he was rightful so proud of the collection.
He was, and he would let anyone who would listen know of it. I mean, you know, I don't know. What do you know about the Major?
Just the bit that Clarice told me, which is clearly a white, very nice painted picture, and I know not everyone is always nice, although there are a few rare cases out there.
Well, he was a very well read man.
Hmm.
He read Latin, Greek, and English, and some French. And I think in his heart of hearts, he would have wanted to be a poet. He would often say, Aede Thea, you can now give me an education role.
Let's see, let's see.
At disadvantage, actually.
God. Why? Advantage would be nice because then I would have had a 4. This way I only have a 74, which is still a success, but barely a success.
Okay, Aede Thea, you know this because it's two words from the first line of the Iliad, Men and Aede Thea, and it's the call from the poet to the muses, and he says, "Sing now, goddess of the wrath of Achilles," and it's like this invocation of the rhapsodes. The idea that they're not speaking, it's not their story, but the gods, the muses, speak through them, and and then he says, and then he said, the muses never spoke to me, but they've spoken to so many other people. And I will collect whatever the muses have given mankind, regardless of if I think it's a good poem or it isn't. It's the goddess's voice. You see, he was stationed at Gallipoli, and he was part of the assault on Elis Brinu. And he was a member of the Lancashire Fusiliers. 600 of the 1,000 perished on the first assault. He was one of the few that made it out. He was very badly injured, and he once said, Patrick Shaw Stewart was not a good poet, but he wrote one of the poems that became quite famous during the First World War. It was called Achilles in the Trenches. He was not a great poet, that's what Major Thompson always said, but a poet nonetheless. And Patrick Shaw Stewart became very famous. He also died during during the First World War. He died in the trenches in France. And sometimes I got the feeling that the Major felt how unkind the muses were that they would have kissed Patrick, but not him. And he had a version of Achilles in the Trenches transcribed by a calligraph and hung it up in his study to remind him that he had vowed he would always collect what the muses gave to man. So that's the kind of man that he was. He would indiscriminately collect to make sure that it was saved.
Do you know if he had any troubles in the latest, or anyone that tried to bug him about his collection in a negative way, not in a good way?
Bug him about his collection, how do you mean?
Well, as I said, something went missing, so I kind of suspect someone wanted to have something, didn't get it, and now they just took it.
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you wanted to read the books, you could just go to his house.
But
You could read there.
you-
I mean, he wouldn't lend them out because his idea was that they should be there for anyone to read who wanted to. But if you wanted to, you could go there and read them.
but a
He had a very good catalog as well. You could just look up, by author or name.
collectors
of
want to own, not to read. You know that very well. She would do psychology role again
yeah,
on
please
how
do.
he's behaving, because she's trying to figure out if he is really a collector, because he's kind of collecting. That is a good role. Psychology, that is a hard success. 28.
When you say collectors want to own, you see that you've struck a nerve with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a collector,
Yeah.
you think. He wants to own.
Alice would have looked around while we walked through the shop. Did he also have books there, or was he completely only going on
No.
statues, vases, and
He didn't. He
Okay.
didn't have books. No.
But you don't collect books, do you? You collect beautiful things, and probably a lot of things that will never make it to the store, I could imagine. Because you are the first ones to look at them and can decide, I like that one, I will
Touché.
keep it. I would do the same.
Touché. No, but I don't collect books.
But
I read them, but I don't collect them.
I'm also more on the reading part. I'm more interested in learning than having it. But, well,
And with a friend like the Major, I didn't really need to collect.
no, you
If I wanted a book, I could just go and see did he have it, and in most cases he did, and I would just basically spend days in his study reading.
So he did not tell you anything about problems or anything.
No, but I mean also it's not like I saw him every day. I mean we would meet maybe once or twice a month, but he didn't mention, I mean, problems in terms of, oh, I would really like to get that book, but I'm in contact with booksellers around the globe trying to find that book.
Yeah.
It was more like that. It was trying to get them. And sometimes, problems restoring a book. But then, he would leave it. He didn't do the restoring himself. He would go to one of the booksellers in the Fagala and have it just restored. You have to take care of books.
Yeah.
But those are, and of course, the eternal collector's problem: not enough money to buy all the things you want to collect.
I can imagine that, because maybe not the book itself is that high of a value, but if I look about the masses that he had there, and they're really nice books there, it's quite worth something.
Oh yes,
It's quite worth something. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure that if one were to take the time and actually go through the collection, one would find gems. But I wouldn't even know them when they stare me in the face, because the only thing I can say is old book, not so old book.
yeah, so we are on the same page there.
But if you were to brought in a valuer, an assessor, maybe from Sotheby's or one of the auction houses that specializes in books, they would probably be able to tell you how much they are worth and could probably get you a good price. But it's my feeling that Clarice isn't considering
No, she's
selling
not considering selling it.
So there you are.
I'm more trying to find out who would be evil enough to steal from a poor girl that lost her father.
Well, not me.
No, but I was so curious if he mentioned anything to you, which I point out no, he did not. So I will
No, he
ask
didn't.
around with more people. You were just one on my list with the additional very interesting because you have an antique store and I can do some shopping for
Well,
the
I
family
would
back
say
home.
if you really want to know what went on in the Major's head, you would have to talk to Heinz, his Batman. He would have shared anything and everything with him. They've been together. They were together for 40 years. They were at the Somme together. They were at Gallipoli together.
At the same time, he is probably quite secretive about everything that he heard because that was his job as well.
I would imagine that Heinz is very secretive, but I think it also, the question is, what do you ask him? And the question is, how pressing are your questions? I'm pretty sure that he knows that books have gone missing.
I'm quite sure about that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he's not happy about that.
I hope not, because if not, it would turn out to be a scenario that I don't want to even think about, because
Well, so maybe if you're telling him that you're trying to help, he will open up. But I'm pretty sure you know that much better than me.
I will try my best. I will still have a look around. But thank you so much for your time and patience. Also, showing me again that really, if I buy somewhere else, I need to make sure it's correct that I can buy it without getting into trouble when I want to leave the country.
If you buy from me, you will be not in trouble at all.
I know that for sure. So if anything comes up, I will definitely come back here. The only thing I will look for is now a carpet. That will be my last shopping list item that I need to find out. But I think carpets is not a problem because they're not antique. So they should be easier to
No,
get out of.
no, not at all. I mean, there are plenty of carpet makers here.
I've seen quite a few nice ones, but I will have a snoop around more and see to get the best one. But as I
You
said,
also notice that actually in this shop there are carpets on the floor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then Alice will pay the bill and she would ask, well, they're not too big what we bought, right? So we could just take them directly with us.
Oh, he's already crated them?
Yeah.
So you would get little wooden crates with them, but yes, you can carry them.
Yeah.
But he won't let you. He will actually say, do you have a car, madam?
Yeah, it's waiting outside.
So I will take these to your car.
Thank you.
And he basically goes
Alice,
with the first one.
Alice will just follow. She will not fight over this, and will just follow. Not sure
You
what
follow.
Dottie did the whole time. If she went inside with, I think she would go inside.
No, she was inside with you. She was basically looking around a bit, and then she became invisible again.
Listening.
To put it kindly, yes, she was listening.
Doing observations.
Yes, or also becoming this non-entity that is Dottie Williams, and basically then he carries it to you, to your car. The driver opens the trunk and he puts both items in, so he goes twice because he always carries each item in two hands just in case he drops it. And then he closes the trunk really quietly and he says, it was a pleasure doing business with you, madam.
Same. Alice would put the hand out again, trying to shake, which will not work, probably, for sure.
Are you definitely holding it out so that he needs, that you want it to be shaken, or do you hold it out like you want it to be
No,
kissed?
she's holding out like...
He will actually shake your hand then.
Then have a successful rest of the day.
Mhm.
And then we would get
You
back
too, madam.
into the car.
Yeah?
And then Dottie can pick out where we go because we need to do some shopping.
Well, what would you like for dinner?
What do you
Alice?
fancy cooking?
I can cook whatever you like.
I know. Maybe some fish.
Maybe some fish. She turns to the driver and she says, we would need some fish. Can you recommend a fishmonger? And he says, of course, madam. My cousin. And so basically he drives you to the harbor, obviously. And there are fishmongers there. And he says, any of these will give you a good deal. And there is like 4 or 5 stalls. And then Dottie gets out. He doesn't even point out if any of them is really his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know because there is 5 stalls, and she basically goes and she looks. Do you go with her? Or do you leave her to her own devices?
I will go with her, but I will try to be the shadow in the background. I will just follow and have a look around, but I will not be in the way.
So she's looking at she takes a tour of the stalls and she looks at every one of them. And then she goes to the second one that you went to, and she stands in line like a good Dottie. And then she basically, she doesn't speak Arabic. The man doesn't speak English, but somehow they manage to have this conversation about fish. And then you notice that she is starting to haggle. So she's pointing and using her fingers, and because of course the Arabic numbers are the same as you use, so basically she can tell the prices, and then she starts to haggle. And then she points to a couple of other pieces of fish. So basically she ends up with fish and crabs, and the two of them come to a conclusion as to how much she's going to pay for all of this, and she pays for it. And then she says, I think we're good to go. Unless, of course, you want some oysters.
No, but
which we would have to buy over there.
Quite impressed about your skills. I would have left with no fish and still have left a lot of money here, probably. So, let's go.
Well, the one thing that I do know stuff about is food.
I'm not fighting you on that.
And they have very good food here. And she basically then takes the bag, and the two of you go back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And do you go back to... Well, you would need to go back to the hotel.
Yeah, the idea is to go back to the hotel.
Okay. So you go back to the hotel.
Yep.
The driver actually will take the stuff out of the trunk, and he will hand it to a bellboy who will then put it on one of those carts that they have, and he will take it to your room.
Alice will tip the driver, thank you to all the waiting and the good pointing out on where to get the fish, and then we go upstairs.
You go upstairs, and then Dottie says, I would really like to get working on this straight away, because I don't want it to go off, because in your room it's just very warm.
It's warm.
So unless you want something else from me now. And then she starts cooking.
Alice would, in a very low voice, offer help, but she's quite sure she's not helpful, but she would offer at least.
Well, you could do me a favor and choose. Would you prefer couscous or would you like rice?
Couscous sounds lovely.
Thank you. And there are 3 different types of vegetables. If you could choose 2 for me, please.
Alice will pick 2.
And then she looks at this and she says, good choice. And she starts working on this. And you can make a psychology roll now.
That is success.
Okay. She's very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts cooking, and she's cooking, and she is yeah. And then she turns around. She says, "We don't have anything for dessert."
Should I go out and get some?
She looks you up and down, and she says,
I can also ask if the kitchen has anything they can bring up.
If I tell you the shop to go to and tell you exactly what it is, will you get it for me?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so she takes out a piece of paper from her writing pad. She writes down the name of a shop, the street where it's at, and then she does something that is a little bit weird. She's trying to transcribe what the Arabic word sounds like, and she says, and then she pronounces it for you.
Yeah. Alice will listen closely and pay attention.
And get 2.
Using fingers. Understood.
And don't pay more than 5 for it.
Okay.
And then she says, good. I'll see you in a bit.
I will see you in a bit. Alice will go downstairs with the piece of paper and some money, and will ask at the desk if she could have like a cab. Just a quick drive, nothing too long.
Yeah. He calls you a cab. Cab picks you up. Do you go straight there?
Yeah.
Or do you...
Straight there.
So you go there. The shop. It turns out the shop is a bakery.
Good.
So you go inside, you wait
Yes.
in line.
Yes.
There are very many women who are shopping, and there is kind of like this complete, like, chit chat, blah, 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 blah. It's very noisy. Finally, it's your turn. There's a man standing behind it, and he nods and he says in Arabic, hello.
Alice will answer hello, and then she would be like pronouncing the word that she would have to get back home, hopefully. She would have also asked Dottie to describe how it looks, just to be safe and sound as well.
Yeah. Okay. So basically he nods and he smiles, but it's a kind smile. So he's not laughing at you. And then he says the word, and he points to something that is about this size.
Does it look like what Dottie described?
It's like it's a Mondschnecke. It looks like a Mondschnecke. I don't even know what's the English word for Mond?
Poppy.
Poppy, yeah. Yeah, so it's like a
poppy seed, like
poppy
a
seed
swirly bun.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a poppy seed swirly bun. That's a very good description. And he then takes, and then he points to it, and then again does this, and you nod, and he takes it, and he puts it on paper, and he wraps it, and then he says,
and Alice would shake her hand, and she would give a 3.
And he basically tells you that he's got 6 sons, and how is he ever going to survive this? He keeps talking.
Alice is smiling and being charming, not really understanding much, and she would then carefully just offer like a 4 to him.
And he kind of like, he looks at his at the buns he's just wrapped, and he's like...
And Alice will give 6, just as a tip.
And he gives you 5, and then he does this, and he wishes you a pleasant day, and out you go.
Out I go, and I have the right things. I will go to the driver.
Oh, you've been observed. Some of the older ladies that have been in the shop have been paying attention to how you did it, and they basically nod appreciatively.
And Alice will very carefully bring the very important buy to the car and let herself get driven back to the Continental.
You go back to the Continental.
And I will go upstairs. I will carry the things on my own. I will not hand them over to anyone else.
No, because this is very valuable. You go to the room. You open the door. You can smell a delicious dinner being prepared.
Yep. Alice is very tempted to enter the house with, "Oh, honey, I'm home." And I have sweets for us.
Dottie says, "Well, darling, isn't that great? Do come in. Dinner's almost ready."
It smells delightful, and I hope I got the right thing. And she will carefully place it on a table and open the package for Dottie to peek inside.
It's perfect. They are perfect.
and I paid 5 for it. It was a bit of a hustle. He wanted 10 in the beginning,
Well, of course he wanted 10.
but I got 5 out of it. I got some
Good.
approving nods from some old ladies around me.
Well, it's all about the haggling.
Yes. For food, it's quite difficult for me because I have no idea what is the decent price for that.
She says, what would you like to have as your beverage of choice with the dinner? It's whitefish, just so that you know.
Well, some...
You saw that she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
buying
yeah,
whitefish, so I'm
clearly,
just
clearly,
letting you know
clearly.
because that informs your decision.
Alice is just some water, maybe.
Would you like lemonade
Yes.
or iced tea?
Iced tea
We have
sounds
both.
quite lovely. Not too sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so it's actually the way she makes iced tea in this country is it's black tea that she has iced, and then she also puts in a little bit of lemon, and then she stirs in a little bit of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically she puts that in a carafe and that's put on the table, and then she says, why don't you sit down? Oh, well, why don't you lay the table?
Perfect. Alice will lay the table and then sit
And
down.
then excellent. And then she basically serves the food. Or no, it's wrong. She doesn't serve the food. She puts the food on the table. Then she sits down, and then
Yeah,
you have to help yourself.
No, that's exactly how
Yeah.
it is. Dottie
Yeah.
is not the main, so...
And
Tomorrow, dear, we maybe should go out for a
she
change.
rolled a 0-1 on her cooking.
Oh my goodness, Bryce.
She gets to increase it straight away, and she increases it by 4. Yay.
We will never leave the suite again, and she will have to cook every day now.
That was really good. I mean, yeah, I'm glad. And
that was... Don't understand me wrong, Dottie. You are an amazing cook, but this was out of world amazing.
I'm glad you liked it. I mean...
No, I loved it. You see how much I ate? That's not usual for me.
But you also had a very long day. And we skipped lunch. You just didn't realize.
Still, the main reason that I ate so much is that it was lovely.
I'm glad. So, what about the story?
I have no idea. I want to help Clarice because I'm still mad at whoever did steal books. At the same time, I have no idea how they stole it, because the wake is honestly the only thing that I can imagine. How someone entered the house and maybe snuck away. Although you don't easily transport out books.
Unless it was an inside job after all.
Terry's is trusting everyone there, so I would be tempted to at least talk to every employee of the house, but they have been with the family for a long time.
I know.
It sounds like it should not be them, at least. There is no real reason. Why now?
Well, I mean, he died. That is a huge, huge thing.
But would that...
So maybe he had promised something to somebody and he never delivered, and now he's dead. So they're trying to... I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know.
I don't know either. So...
But you looked at everything. How would they have gotten in?
As I said, the only thing that I can think of, either it was an inside job, that one of the employees who can get in and out, they can easily get some books out if they want to. Or when I think about the wake, maybe someone was there. And to be honest, I can imagine you go upstairs or sneak upstairs, put the books, wrap them up in a package, and just drop them out of the window and pick them up later.
That's a really good point. Because I mean, in this weather, it's dry, it's hot.
Yeah,
You
And
don't need to be afraid that it just rains on them.
no, and if you open the window carefully from inside, just a bit enough to push the package over the edge, it would not leave traces because it was not a forced entry. I'm not sure. If you're up, I would like to dig a bit more, but I also don't want to ruin our vacation time.
Okay, you would ruin our vacation if somebody shot at you, and I would have to visit you in hospital. So please don't get shot.
No, please, vice versa. Please
Good.
don't get shot, stabbed, or anything like that.
But I mean, the thing is, this is a normal case. Something got stolen.
True.
There are no ghosts, no haunted pianos, no Wendigos. So hey,
No deities or people
no deities.
jumping bodies to live an eternal life.
This is PIs as it should be.
Then let's do a bit more here and there
Yes.
and see what we can find out. So I think I will call Clarice tomorrow and see if we can get over for another, maybe lunch or dinner, whatever
Sure.
fits better for them. Because
Well,
we
I mean,
need
she will probably not want me there, so it's okay if you go alone.
you have to join. We are a PI company together.
All right.
Also, I could honestly imagine, especially maybe talking to the cook, you would get much more information than I would ever get out of her, for sure.
I will talk to the cook. Maybe she knows how to make mocha. Maybe she has a recipe of her own. Speaking of,
Also,
would you like some?
yes.
With, and she gives the Arabic name of
Mhm.
this poppy seed thing.
Mhm.
Do we dare roll? 43. It's not a good one. It's
Not as
drinkable, but it's
bad
not
as
good.
the one in the
Yeah.
morning, but
Well,
we're
I mean,
still
she doesn't
training.
even. I mean, when you said to her, that it's evil to keep telling you that you can't cook,
Mhm.
she did take that too hard. She doesn't mention it anymore. The look that you gave her,
Then, all is good.
so it's drinkable, but you've had better, and she also knows it. And she says, "Well, it is
It's a
it is difficult. It's something we really need to get used to."
So we will practice and take turns, and we should
Yeah.
get better over time, I hope.
Mhm. Yeah.
And maybe also
The buns are nice.
Good.
They are really nice. Interestingly enough, you haven't tasted them yet. So she must have had them because she knows what they are.
the question is when.
So
where.
whatever she did, she didn't share it with you.
Yeah, Alice will not ask her about it. She will just enjoy the dessert. Maybe also talking to the housemaid might be. I think I intimidate them. I don't know why.
Have you looked just at yourself?
Yes. I think I don't look scary.
No, you're just very impressive. I mean, most people here, even the men, are not taller than me. Most women are about 150. You tower over everyone. You maybe not notice it, but I do because I walk next to you. And I can see you in relation to other people.
Point
You are very tall for this place.
taken. Point taken. Will we just split up and see what we can get out of it? Maybe we just stay over for coffee. I will ask Clarice. Let's see what she can manage to do.
Let's do that.
And then the rest of the evening, Alice would just enjoy the food.
Mhm.
Maybe a small drink afterwards, not a big one, and more for comfort. Not really because, not
Like a
really.
sherry or something.
Yeah, it's not her I need a drink way. It's just like a nice ending of the evening. She will clearly ask Dottie if she would enjoy as well.
She will go for a sherry, and then she says, "I'm writing a postcard to Teresa. Would you like to sign?"
Yes, for sure. And Alice will sign with some nice words. Nice words. Oh God, English is hard. And then Alice would sit probably outside because now it should be nice outside. And she would have her book, the new one that she bought with her, and she would just sit
Mhm.
down and do some reading.
Um, Dottie asks if she can join you and sit with you.
Sure.
She sits down and she also has a book.
At this time of day, it's really lovely outside, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually already dark.
But still, the air, I can
No,
imagine,
no, but
is
it's like,
really.
it's
Yeah.
you although it's not that late, so it's time of day, but it's around 7, but it's already dark.
Mhm.
Also, it's November, but and it is, yeah, it is just really lovely because it's there's just a light breeze, but it's still warm, and the scent from from the garden, and of course the eternal crowing. I don't know how else to describe it, of the peacocks, because the sound
It's horrible.
is horrible, but of course they're serenading each other now. So, and yeah, and it is a lovely evening. So you read,
Mhm.
um, and then I think around about 10 o'clock or so, Dottie will actually say, "You know what? I think I'm going to turn in because last night was a late night, and it's I just feel tired."
Honestly, it's probably not the worst idea to get to bed slowly. So Alice will also close her book, will get up with Dottie, and
Mhm.
we'll wish her good night. And we'll go to her own room,
Mhm.
and we'll
So
read a few more
you
pages in bed and then go to
mhm,
sleep.
make a power check.
I don't like this. Just to
I don't
find that
care.
out, I really don't like this. No, big fail.
You failed.
72.
Okay. You sleep.
Good. I hope I
You
wake up.
dream.
I don't like dreaming.
You dream. You are again in a white space,
Mm-hmm.
like the time you dreamt of Dottie reading, the young Dottie getting this letter and reading it.
Oh God.
This time it's a white space, and you see a young Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a young Alice who's standing there in front of her mother. And her mother is talking at her. And you remember that incident very clearly. You'd just gotten back from the clinic. And basically, when it became apparent that or when your mother found out that you were pregnant, she stopped talking to you. This was probably the only time that your mother didn't speak to you at all, solicited or unsolicited. She didn't speak to you at all for weeks. Then she sent you away with a lady that she's like a lady in waiting to her. Her name is Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
She's been with your mother since she was 16. So basically, when your mother became of age 21, she married at 22. Bowers joined her household. She was given her basically by her parents, and she's been with her since before forever. She's not a maid. She's really like the person who will do your mum's correspondence as well. She's a confidant. She's like Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have sent her with you
Mm-hmm.
because obviously you need a chaperone after all you were pregnant, so you really need looking after. And she is berating you. And you and then she closes with looking at Bauer saying, "Take my daughter to her room and make sure she stays there. And then we will make arrangements for her to be shipped off to Washington State for finishing school. She's not going to go to finishing school here in New York." And then she looks at you and says, and no debate. I've discussed it with your father. Bowers is actually quite a kindly woman. So she was very nice to you
Hmm.
through all of this. And she takes you by the elbow quite gently and she says, Miss Alice, let's go. Do you go with her?
Alice would send her mother like killer eyes for sure, very angry, very mad, and but she would follow. Yes.
So Bowers takes you to your room. So again, this is like you're seeing a half cut
Hmm.
open house. So you're seeing this play out in front of you. It's not like you're seeing it from the
Yeah.
inside. You are watching
Outside.
yourself
Yeah.
go through all of this. And then you end up in your room, or basically Bowers ends up in the room with the young Alice, and she says, I know that you're probably feeling terrible, but I will get you something to eat and something to drink, and I will just leave it here. I will be outside. If you need anything at all, just talk to me. But whatever you do, please do not leave the house. Please.
Alice will probably just sit down on her bed, back to the door. She will not give a
Mhm.
nod or a shaking of the head. She would just go like blocking out mode.
Mhm. So Bowers leaves the room very quietly. She closes the door very quietly. And about 20 minutes later, she comes back with a tray. It's got hot chocolate. It's got some biscuits, some sandwiches. She puts it down and also a carafe of water.
Hmm.
And she walks around. Are you still sitting on the bed with the back to the door?
Yes.
And she basically sits down next to you and she says, do you think you can eat something?
I think Alice would just shrug her shoulders, would grab a sandwich and just bite a corner off.
You don't speak
No, she wouldn't
at
say a
all.
word. And she would keep her mouth shut.
Is there anything you would like your mother to know?
Alice would just shake her head and would take another bite out of the sandwich.
I'll be right outside. And she leaves. What does Alice do?
I think the moment when the door closes, Alice would probably curl up in bed,
Hmm.
just under her blanket, and would quite quietly cry to herself because she's feeling very sorry for herself at the moment, and she still
Hmm.
feels kind of alone in all of this.
Hmm. Okay. Your power is less than 96, I assume.
Yes, it's 55.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Dottie has killer stats.
Powers for Dottie was much better than.
Power is 85
Yeah.
for Dottie. Yeah. So, you, not young Alice, um, feels a hand on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you open your eyes?
Yes.
You see Dottie. You were having a nightmare. It woke me up.
Alice would just rub her eyes. Probably curiously also seeing if she cried in also.
You did.
It was a nightmare. I'm sorry I woke you up.
Do you want to talk about it?
It was not really. Well, it was a bad memory. It was not a nightmare. It was just a bad memory.
It must have been a very bad memory. I've never seen you cry before.
The weird thing, it started similar as what I dreamt of your past. The feeling of how I was just watching what has happened to me in the past. Just standing by, observing. It was exactly the same when I dreamt what I should not even know. With the. It was a letter that she hid, right?
Yeah.
I would turn around, just flap her head down. You should try to get some sleep. How late is it? And she would look over to a watch or to the
It's
alarm
4
clock.
o'clock in the morning.
You definitely should go back to bed. I'm really sorry I woke you up.
The funny thing is, you woke me up in my dreams.
What? How?
I don't know.
Was I standing in your dream like, hey, wake up?
Something like that.
What is happening? This is not normal.
I think we passed normal a couple of exits ago.
That's kind of true. Alice will just pull the blanket back and just clap next to her because I'm quite sure it will big beds, right?
Yeah.
It will be like king size or so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she gets into bed with you and next to you, and she basically gets herself one. There are two pillows, so she
Yeah.
gets one of them. So
How did we get here? Not to Egypt literally. I know how we got here, but I am sorry I'm bringing so much chaos to your life.
we've been over this. Check mark.
Yes. We should have brought like travel bags of this anti do not get close to me thingy that we have in our house, as it seems.
But you dreamt in our house as well.
That is true. Well, at least I did not see myself and talk. Well, I did see myself, but not like that, so. And no one stole my lipstick so far. I just want to sleep in peace and quiet. It would be nice if I don't have to worry to go to bed. Just because I don't want to dream or see things or having things talking to me.
Things talk to you.
Well, a certain deity thing talking to
Oh,
me.
but she wasn't here, was she?
No, I haven't.
Was she in your dream?
No, she wasn't. I'm not sure if that is connected, but the dream was so. Well, at least
Vivid.
this time I dreamt something that I experienced and not someone else.
It was a nightmare. I hope I didn't make an appearance.
No, it was long before your time.
Good.
Well, not that long, but kind of long before we met.
I haunt your waking hours already. I don't want to haunt you in your sleep.
You would never haunt my dreams. Should we try to get a bit more sleep? Just hoping whatever this is lets us.
I think you should try and get some more sleep, definitely.
You too?
Yes, well, I was sleeping.
I promise I will not try to invade your dreams.
I don't think you had a choice. I don't think you did this out of malice. I still don't know how you did it to begin with.
I did not even think of you because you were not there during that time. I didn't know you.
I don't know.
I just felt quite sorry for myself, as I did in that situation.
You felt sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you feel sorry for yourself.
You haven't met younger me?
No, I haven't. So was that before the time you became all cerebral and separated yourself from your own emotions?
Maybe. Although I don't think it's as harsh as you describe. I just grew up.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Yes.
So I never grew up, did I?
Oh, you've grown up a lot.
I still can't separate myself from my emotions, though.
That's usually not a bad thing. Sometimes, but not always.
You should go to bed.
We both
You should
sleep.
go to sleep now.
We both sleep.
Yeah.
See you in a
She
bit.
turns over and actually she switches off the alarm clock.
Okay.
We'll just see when we wake up.
Deal. Alice will turn around as well, just curl up again. She'll probably stare for quite a while into, like, the black room. And she just hopes she falls asleep and can sleep.
What's your power?
55.
Okay. You go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You don't dream.
Good.
The next morning, at some point, somebody touches your... Well, not somebody. It's Dottie. Someone.
Someone is sitting in between us, like, hello.
No. Maeve
God.
appears. No.
Yeah.
Dottie touches your shoulder very lightly and she calls you by your name. How about you open your eyes a little and give me a look?
I'm peeking over at her.
I think I'll make breakfast today.
We can also just order and have breakfast in bed.
Or we can do that.
Let's do that.
Don't move.
Okay.
She goes outside. And you hear her pick up the phone. And she orders breakfast in bed.
I'm quite sure Alice would get up, would tiptoe into the bathroom, at least to
Freshen up.
and then she would tiptoe back and just curl up under the blanket again.
Mm-hmm. So about 20 minutes later, Dottie comes in with one tray which she gives to you.
Mm-hmm.
It contains mocha, of course, made by her downstairs, who's an expert mocha maker.
Perfect.
And a really nice breakfast. And then she says, "I've got my own tray. Just wait a second." And she goes outside again. She comes back with her own, puts it down, gets in bed, gets the tray, and then the two of you have breakfast in bed.
This is perfect. I hope you
It
got
is.
a little bit more.
We should do that more often.
Yes, we should. I hope you got a little bit more sleep.
Oh, I slept soundly. You tossed a little, but I don't think you had a nightmare.
At least
When I checked on you, you weren't crying at least.
Well, at least I don't think so. I can't remember. So usually that's a good sign.
Good. Very good. It's also 11 o'clock.
Oh boy.
No, you needed it. I was up at 7, just... You were still soundly asleep, so I decided to let you sleep.
You waited that long without breakfast.
Not quite.
That is second breakfast for you. Good choice.
I had a sandwich.
That is a good choice.
And some tea. But I didn't... I debated, but I decided not to wake you until it was later.
Thank you for letting me sleep.
Good. So now, how about you give Clarice a call? And you can make arrangements for tomorrow.
Yep.
Or maybe tonight if she wants to have dinner.
Whatever fits her. And after finishing breakfast, Alice would get up. She would get dressed first, and then she would call at Clarice's house.
Clarice Thompson answers the phone herself. Thompson?
Baker.
Oh, Alice.
Clarice.
That's nice of you to call. How are you?
I am doing fine. I hope you too. under the
Yes,
circumstances,
thank you.
clearly.
Thank you.
Um, for the investigation, I think it would be good if we could talk to the house staff.
Oh, of course.
So it's a question if you wouldn't mind that we come over whenever it fits. Maybe also
Well,
for some
when would you
coffee.
like to? I mean, when you do come over, you will not just be talking to them. I would ask you for dinner,
Yes, we would like to
at
join your
least.
company for sure. We had a really
Oh, all
lovely
right.
evening last time.
Um, well, when would suit?
That is something you have to say. I don't want to intrude too much. We are just here on vacation. We are free whenever to do whatever we like.
Well, I've made arrangements. Tomorrow, I actually want to sit down and start, you know, thinking about how I'm going to proceed with the library.
Hmm.
I mean, my father wanted it to be open to the public. I'm just not sure how we can do it in this house. So, tomorrow, I'm going to actually start, going through the list of people that I know from, you know, Cairo that could help. Maybe we could rent a building or
Hmm.
something. So I will be in all day, but I'm pretty sure that by evening I would like to see a friendly face. So would you like to come to dinner tomorrow?
Yes, I would clearly bring Dorothy with me because
Of
then we
course.
can split up.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure if she enjoyed the last evening. She was being very quiet.
She always is. She still enjoyed it a lot.
Good, because I was unsure. But then again, I think compared to Pamela, everyone seems quiet.
Yeah, and I'm not far behind Pamela. I know that myself. So Dottie just takes the relaxed mode, just listens and enjoys it, and just literally enjoys the show.
Good, because I was kind of like, you see, you get so absorbed sometimes you know, when a big change in your life happens that you sometimes it takes a while for you to realize what's going on around you. And I felt like I was being a bad hostess.
No, it was perfect and lovely. Don't worry about that.
Good. Then I will see you tomorrow. How does 7 o'clock sound?
Sounds perfect. Should we bring anything?
Just yourself.
We can manage that.
Or would you like to? Or how about you come at 5 and then you can speak to the staff and then we can have dinner at 7,
That
because
sounds
otherwise it's going
perfect.
to be until 10 o'clock and
Yeah,
that
that
might
would
be
be
a little
late.
late,
That would be late.
because they usually, I mean, the gardener etc. retire.
Yeah, then
I could ask them to stay up, but I just don't think it would
no,
make
no, we don't
much
want to intrude
sense.
too much. We just want to see what they saw, what they heard.
Hmm.
Maybe someone has a hint that they may even sometimes people don't even think about that what they heard or saw is
Hmm.
a clue.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. Then see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. And then Dottie comes through the door. She's been outside of the hotel room, and
Hmm.
she says, "Look what I found downstairs. There's a flyer. There's a flower show.
A flower show
Yes.
today.
Well, tonight.
Well, perfect.
Would you like to go?
Yes, let's go. We are having dinner tomorrow at Clarice's. You are very much invited. She was really scared that you didn't like it and she felt really horrible that she was a bad. I told her you're always more on the quiet side. She should not worry too much. Because
No,
honestly,
I really enjoyed myself. It was a nice evening. I just didn't know what to contribute to the conversation. And then if you don't have to say anything,
honestly,
you should rather be quiet and listen.
with Pamela and me, it's hard to bring in a word anyhow. I know that. So, but well, we will go over tomorrow around 5, then we can talk to the staff, and then around 7 we will have dinner.
Brilliant. Yes, I like that. So when we go to the flower show, because it doesn't open until 8, maybe we could actually have dinner in the hotel tonight.
Yeah, then no one
Like,
has to
let's
cook.
say 6,
Sounds
and
good.
then we can take a cab.
Yep,
I will arrange that.
perfect.
And she basically then again leaves instead of taking the phone, goes downstairs, presumably. Um, let's see. 29. What's your luck?
38.
The phone rings.
I will answer the phone. Hello?
It's Pamela.
Pamela, darling.
Can I come by your room?
Sure. We are here.
I will be there in 5.
See you. She will hang
She
up.
hangs up.
She will slowly walk towards the door and wait.
5 minutes later,
Dottie's still downstairs? Probably.
Dottie's still downstairs. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I will open the door. How does Pamela look? Just now that she's standing in front of me. Is she looking okay? Or does it look like something happened?
She looks stunning as always, but she does look like somebody who's trying to say something and doesn't quite know how.
Come in. Dottie is downstairs to organize this evening, but come in.
Oh, good. Why don't you take a seat?
You should take a seat yourself, as it looks like.
Well, I'm fine.
Alice will just sit down and will motion Pamela to sit down. Seat opposite.
Pamela sits down. Alice?
Yes.
I want you to keep calm.
Just, what do you want to tell me? Please don't tell me you murdered someone. That would be news I'm not sure I want to deal with.
What? No.
10? Can't be that bad.
I have a letter.
Okay.
For you.
No. Yes, you have a letter, clearly, but you can just directly burn it in the fireplace.
As you wish. As you wish. No, it's fine. I kind of expected this.
Yeah, that's the point. Dottie will
But I also felt I couldn't not tell you.
kick me for it. Just bring the letter over. I will think about what I do with it.
She takes the letter out. She has it with her, obviously.
Obviously.
And it's in Matthew's handwriting.
Obviously.
Addressed to you. It's in an envelope that is closed and sealed.
How did he know to get me here? Well,
he wrote to me. He knows I'm here.
Okay. And he knows that we definitely are still in contact. How is he doing? Getting settled in LA?
Reading between the lines, I'm not sure it's all that he hoped for.
The question is, what did he hope for?
A normal life.
It's LA. After all I heard from LA, a normal life is quite... Especially if
I think he got just that. He has a normal life now. So the money went to him, the entailment. He's married.
Good.
His family is happy.
Then he got what he asked for.
Indeed.
We know what he's missing out on, but that was his decision.
At that she laughs and she says, well, some people wouldn't consider me a big prize.
Darling, you are the best prize. And honestly, me on top of that as well. He lost a big deal where other would be blessed to have us around. With us, he would have never had a normal life, for sure. because we are both not keen on normal life. That sounds quite boring. I wouldn't want a normal life. I enjoy some quiet times, but no.
No, I think Normal and Alice Baker simply don't go together.
The same with you, darling.
Well, and doesn't everyone in New York say the same thing about me? Well, anyway, I need to rush. I've got an appointment. I'm going to get my hair done.
Enjoy, enjoy.
Thank you, I will.
Take care, and we will see when we can meet up. Maybe the day after tomorrow, because we have plans tomorrow, but the day after?
Sure,
Perfect.
sure. Very nice. I love that.
Get up and bring her to the door, obviously.
Yeah, she kisses you on both cheeks.
Yeah, she will get kisses back. And when Dottie comes back up, Alice is sitting with a cup of tea on the sofa, staring at the envelope that is on the table. Back. Yes, exactly. That would be exactly the scenario.
39. She totally sees the envelope, and
it's not
the question
hidden.
is, yeah, does she recognize his handwriting? Probably not. She looks at it and she says, "Oh, you've got a letter."
Pamela just brought it over.
Pamela wrote you a letter?
No.
Couldn't she just have told you?
She got the letter.
33, 38. I think she kind of can make a connection.
Yeah. She wanted to ask if I wanted before she threw it out, which she suspected highly was... Well, my initial reaction was burn it. But, well, in the end, I should burn it if I really want to burn it and not let someone else do it.
So?
I have no idea. I don't know what could be in there that would do anything good.
Maybe he's asking for forgiveness.
Which honestly I'm not really sure I can give him. Alice will take a deep breath. She will get up. She will grab the letter and she will... probably go back to her room and put it just in between one of the books and just put it away out of eyes, out of sight.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come back quite quickly.
Yep.
Of course, Dottie then realizes you can't have read it unless it was like just 2 words, hi, bye, or something like that. And she nods.
That's a problem for future me one day, maybe when I'm old and grey and curious enough. We have more important things. We have a flower show coming up. We are having lovely dinner before that. I need to pick out what I want to wear. And tomorrow we have the plan to visit Clarice and we can decide what we want to do before that. There are a lot of things here still to sightsee and look at that we haven't.
Oh, yes. Yes. There are several guidebooks worth of stuff you haven't seen yet. And she says, all right. So, good. So, how about we pick out something for you to wear?
For you as well.
Yeah, but you go first. My wardrobe is a lot more restricted than yours.
You mean I'm a hoarder and I brought too much clothing? True that.
No, that's...
True that.
Stop twisting my words.
Half of the clothing that is here I would probably not even wear. That's my biggest problem.
Well, when you go out with Pamela...
I don't have to write things... Well, I have a few right things for that. But well...
You do. You
Alice.
brought, I mean, this time you won't even have to wear a stole when you wear the one that doesn't have a back because it's warm enough.
True, but not right for the flower show.
No, I'm not saying for the flower show, but, and she produces a booklet.
Okay.
Look, the Royal Opera.
That sounds like a lovely idea for one evening.
You could definitely wear that dress to the Royal Opera.
I could. So I'm really not sure if Alice would have brought that dress with her. We're in Egypt anyhow.
Do you think that she might not have brought it?
I don't think Alice would have brought it.
Because if Alice hasn't brought it, then Dottie has.
Okay. I think Alice would have gone with a little bit more conservative clothing. Still pants galore, probably, and still colorful,
Which is so not conservative at
but
all.
not showing too much skin or being in that kind of way extravagant. I don't think so.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
she wouldn't have had it in her stock as well, but it's definitely not the right thing for picking the dress for the flower show.
No, for the flower show it wasn't. So you basically go over things that you can wear for the flower show.
Yeah, she will look really for something that is quite light and breezy and maybe even
Will it be a skirt kind of thing, or will it be
no, it would be dress. It would be a
okay?
dress.
Would be a dress. Okay. So Dottie also has a dress. Obviously, she has plenty of those. Yeah, and the color palette doesn't really match yours.
That is obvious. That's how it's often enough is, so it is. Alice would pick out also a little headpiece just to have
Mm-hmm.
something that shows off a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rest of the afternoon we would just read and chill a little bit because it's
Mm-hmm.
probably already early afternoon, so it would
Yeah.
be too tight to do anything. So I think Alice
Uh,
would go down to the pool for a little.
mm-hmm.
Not sure if Dottie wants to join.
She does,
Then,
but she will then get iced tea.
yeah,
And she gets iced tea for the two of you. Then you basically at some point change for dinner,
yep.
have dinner, then you go to the flower show, which is a very English thing.
Hmm.
And basically there is also prizes for the best. So basically it's almost around I don't even know what you call it. So it's flower arrangement really.
Yeah.
And then and you have first prize, second prize, third prize, and it's really like orchids here and there, and it's really lovely. There are plenty of English people. You don't see any Egyptians, so this is really kind of like the English expats bringing England to Egypt and doing what they basically do at home, flower shows.
Mm-hmm.
You can, of course, also donate. There is a charitable event. It is also basically to help people who would have been wounded. The Great War is still not forgotten here in Europe. It's still very much alive in people's minds. And again, they collect for armies, widows, and that kind of thing, or the wounded. So you have a very nice evening. The whole thing from the entry, basically you go in, you can look at all of the arrangements, and then then the judges come in, they look at it, and they all have like those papers, and they fill them in and forms and blah, and it's all very organized. And then the winners are announced, and then at around 11 the whole show ends. And of course there are canapes, and there is tea, and there is
Prosecco or
champagne,
champagne,
that
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Prosecco, not champagne. During the time would be champagne.
Yeah. And so it's actually not too far away from the hotel. Do you want to walk back, or do you want to take a cab?
I think we would have informed us if walking back would be safe. Then I think walking would be the option. If we got the sign that please don't do that, we would take a
It's
cab.
quite safe. It's
Yeah.
deemed to be quite safe.
Yeah,
So
then we would.
okay, so
And
the
I
two of
guess
you
we are
walk
not
back.
the only ones walking back. There are probably a few more that are taking towards the Continental, I would guess. Yep, we're
Okay.
walking back.
Make a spot hidden.
That is definitely a success. Just a question what kind of. It's a success.
Okay. And you arrive at the hotel. Um, and do you want to take a nightcap, or do you go back straight to your apartment,
I would.
to your suite?
If Dottie's up for a nightcap, Alice would definitely ask her if she would be up
Yeah.
to. So we will go to the bar first.
Okay, you go to the bar.
Yep.
You order drinks.
Yep.
You are pretty much the only guest. There's about five more. Two couples and the Reverend as well. But the Reverend just greets you. He doesn't even try to make contact. He just basically waves at you. He's got a book that he's reading from. He just acknowledges your presence.
Yeah, we were just
in a friendly
friendly,
way.
nod back, and then we pick a table.
And yeah, and you eat. You have your drink, and yeah, and
Then
then you.
go back.
Do you want to talk about anything in particular, or do you just go to bed?
I think we'll talk about what the flower show, discussing maybe a few things that we've seen there. And then, exactly with this, yawn, go back upstairs and go to bed.
Is Alice somebody who's really into flowers? Because Dottie is. For Dottie, this was a great evening.
I think Alice is not so much in. Alice likes to look at flowers. They are pretty, but she's not really on, oh, this is this name for that flower and this is that kind, and far away from how to keep it alive. That's but general enough that she knows it's an easy topic also for small talk. So that is something that Alice generally would know quite a bit. And she enjoys beautiful flowers.
Okay, so basically, do you want to do anything else, or do you just go to bed?
It would just be saying goodnight to Dottie and going to bed.
Okay, you say goodnight to Dottie.
Yeah.
You go to bed.
Yep. Do I need to make a power roll again?
On a 0-9, I think you did quite well.
Okay.
You go to sleep. The alarm clock rings
Good.
at 8.
Yeah. And
Yeah, because you are on holiday,
yeah,
and
we are
even
on
Dottie
holiday.
relents.
Yeah.
You make breakfast.
I make breakfast. I will try mocha again.
Oh God.
That's a 99.
Oh dear.
It's undrinkable.
It's tar. A tar-like substance
I will make.
drips out of the pot.
I will make my coffee. I will just dig out the coffee that we brought with us, and I will make coffee like I know how to make coffee, and that should be a good coffee because that she knows by heart how to do
Yeah,
it.
you know how to do this, and
So we will have, and I will knock at, if Dottie's not out and about already, I will knock at Dottie's door like, breakfast is almost ready.
you notice something now that you are here. Dottie doesn't really get up by herself unless you wake, unless you knock on her door. She doesn't. You don't know if she's still asleep and wakes up when you knock, or what the story is. But she comes out. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are things?
Good. I'm really sorry. Long day.
Did you sleep well?
I slept like a stone. You too? No dreams? Not me showing up?
No.
Good.
Not that I haven't dreamt of you before, which was never a problem.
You dreamt of me before.
Of course. Well,
I know, our brains are weird places.
how likely is it that you don't dream of somebody who you spend most of your waking time with?
True.
It's mostly mundane stuff, like going shopping.
True. Well.
And now that you think of it, yes, you have had dreams
Yeah.
where Dottie
Yeah,
makes an
sure.
appearance. I mean, you
That's
dream about
what's
things
happened.
that,
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
I will make some tea. I will pour the hot water and prepare tea, and I will put the coffee pot in front of my sitting place.
So you have breakfast.
Yep.
Do you want to do anything in particular? Do you want to jump to the evening?
I think we would have picked something where we can just have a stroll and a look around, just
Hmm.
to do something in between and see
Yeah.
something, but it would not be something too
Mhm.
exciting, I would guess.
Mhm. Yeah. So what Dottie has taken upon herself is also to inquire about trips to the pyramids of Giza,
Mm-hmm.
and also she's dug up a couple of leaflets on trips down the Nile because you had been
Yeah.
discussing this, and of course you can organize these through the hotel, so you can basically book them. There are day trips, there are week trips,
Mm-hmm.
and so basically she's also gotten the brochures that she can, that the two of you can discuss, like what's on it's not like she's trying to make arrangements now, but just so that you guys have an
Yeah.
idea of what is
What is
possible,
possible?
how long would it take, how much time beforehand do you need to make arrangements, because obviously the spaces on board are limited.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a lovely day.
Yep.
And then you go at 5 o'clock. You make sure that you are there for 5 o'clock.
Yep.
Heinz opens the door and he says, "Oh, madam, welcome."
Thank
And he
you.
lets the two of you in and he takes your coats, and then he escorts you inside into the salon. And Clarice shows up and she says, "So, in what order would you like to speak to them?"
In whatever order they can take some time for a bit. Maybe, Dottie, I'm not sure how busy the cook is already, but the earlier maybe the better. Not sure.
Yes, yeah, the cook. All right. So, um, she brings in Mrs. Barton, and Mrs. Barton curtsies and she says, "Madam, how can I help?"
Um, Alice is a bit lost. We don't want to intrude too much, but have you? Has the master of the house before? Well, bless her soul, sadly passed away. Was there something weird happening, or did he behave weirdly in the days before?
Uh, No. I mean, I was very shocked when he passed away. It was very unexpected, but I can't say that he was in any way behaving strangely. I mean, he had his routine, you know, tea in the morning, 3 lumps of sugar per cup. He was awfully into his sugar. And then, 2 slices of toast, 1 egg, 2 rashers every day, no change. And then, the young lady would prepare the dinner and lunch menu with me for the whole week. He didn't really care about that as long as he got his food. He was kind of, he wasn't a good eater.
Alice is ignoring anything that Dottie is throwing and looks at her. Um, did anyone else in the house behave weirdly? Anything that comes to your mind that was a bit off? Like in a maybe 2 weeks before.
Before,
Yes.
not before, no.
Well, the question is, did anything weird happen after? Next to that, the whole situation is clearly not a nice situation. But maybe, I don't know, was there something special sticking out during the wake, for example, or the days after his passing?
Psychology role.
Let's see. Psychology. Ooh, that is a 6, which is
Oh,
a
wow.
critical success, and I should make that hook.
When you say after, she does kind of like her eyes go
Mm-hmm.
up, go wide a little, and then they settle back.
We are not here to cause any trouble for you and for anyone else. We just want to find out what is going on to make sure Clarice is safe and you guys are safe. Can
I don't want this to get out.
well, I can promise you it won't. Alice will just point her to please. I'm not sure if we probably we would sit, But
No, you're sitting, she's standing.
oh, she would please just take a seat and just it will stay under us. It's not going outside. It will
Well, she
not be
doesn't sit
mentioned.
down, but
Can
she says, "Well, it's not my place to say this, but Heinz has not been the same, which is understandable.
yes.
But one evening, I was still in the kitchen. I was just basically marinating the food for the next day, the meat. It
Mm-hmm.
was, after hours, 11 o'clock maybe. I heard a noise and I went looking because I thought everybody had gone to bed. And I was like, I'm not easily spooked, but somebody died in this house, and anyway, I went to look and it was Heinz. And it looked like he had walked into the wall. And he was basically standing there looking left and right. And then he turned and he kept walking up the stairs to the first floor. It was like he just walked into the landing and then realized what had happened and then just turned and kept walking. Like he wasn't there.
Bit like sleepwalking, maybe. What do you hear from stories of
Yes, a bit
sleepwalking?
like sleepwalking. Maybe he was sleepwalking. That's a good. That must be it. He was sleepwalking. Maybe it's one of those, shell shock things. Maybe the death of the major just brought back the memories from the Great War. That must be it. He was sleepwalking.
That's definitely an option. At least initially, it sounds like it. As I said,
But you didn't hear this from me.
we didn't hear this from you, and also no one is in trouble for that because that is just something that can happen. As you said, shock for sure, because they have been close, as I understood, for a long, long time. Well, if anything else comes to mind, please feel free to drop a note or ask to contact
I will,
us.
madam.
And then we don't want to keep you longer from
Yes, I do need to prepare the food. And
whatever
then
you
Dottie kind of
will.
like perks up and she says, "What's for dinner anyway?" And then she basically explains to her what it is. And it's kind of like, again, marinated something. It's like sauerbraten in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And then Dottie says, "I would really like to see how you make this. I'm a cook myself." And then Mrs. Barton invites her to the kitchen.
Perfect.
And Dottie follows.
I'll just clap Dottie on the shoulder, just lightly, and then I would stick my head out and see if I can grab maybe Benno somewhere.
Bennu, the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Bennu does show up and he's again dressed in his chauffeur's uniform and you know him already and
Yeah.
he knows you and he basically speaks to you.
Um, we're helping Miss Clarice a bit to try to figure out a few things that have happened. So I was just be curious.
Like what?
Things are disappearing. Um, I'm not here to accuse anyone. I'm just trying to figure out if someone maybe got into the house that should not have been here. But also, we were curious if you drove the. I still want to say it's major. I always tend to go to general. The major around quite a bit, I would
Yes, of course, I was his
suppose.
driver.
The maybe in the last 2 weeks before he sadly passed away, bless his heart. Did he like go away from his routine? Did he visit any weird places that he's never visited before? So not the usual stuff, the going out, seeing like bookstores or whatever that he did. Was there anything?
Well, we took a trip to to Alexandria.
Which he did from time to time?
Well, he'd been there before, but he just wanted to take a trip. It was kind of, you know,
Short.
he goes there every so often. I mean, he goes there for shopping trips, for books.
Was it planned or was it more like a spontaneous idea?
Well, it was kind of spontaneous. He was like that.
Okay. So more books to buy and a full
Yeah, we did bring
trunk,
back a couple of books, yes. Not many. I want to say 10.
which is still quite a good amount, which he
He
could,
smiles. It's
because,
not for him.
well, even 10 books more to this collection is a good stack of more, because he already has quite a bit. So it will, that's the thing, if you collect, it will get more and more difficult over time to get the right things. Did anything else happen maybe in the days after he passed? I don't know if was there anything during the wake that sticks to your mind? Any guests that did not behave correctly?
Not that I can think of. Having said this, I wasn't really at the wake.
Okay.
I was more ferrying people to and from the wake. But no, I didn't. I mean, the place is a lot quieter now, obviously, but other than that, I can't really
Okay.
say.
Alice will still do a psychology check, even though
Yeah.
I am believing, and Alice is believing it well because she failed.
He's genuine.
He's
He's as
genuine.
good as gold.
That is all that I have. Do you by any chance know where Heinz is at? Because I definitely want to talk to him as well.
Oh yes, he's polishing the silverware.
Okay, then.
Shall I bring him? Shall I ask him to join you?
If you could show me just a way, that would be lovely.
Of course. And he shows you to where Heinz is polishing the silverware.
Then I would just knock on the door frame, probably.
Madam.
Sir.
Heinz.
I was curious if you would have a few minutes.
Of course, madam.
Alice will...
He puts away the silverware and the polishing cloth.
Don't feel disturbed. You can also go on if you want to. Oh, stop. Yeah, I'm not sure if Clarice mentioned to you that we are looking a little bit into the dear Major and things that have happened after he died.
You mean the books going missing?
Yes.
Yes, she did mention this.
We just want to make sure that we maybe find who it is or who took them, and also making sure that you guys are safe and sound here. Because we can't really wrap our minds around how they entered the house and left with some books.
Well, yes, that is a mystery because I lock the house every night. And I unlock it the next morning.
Yeah, and the bolt looks stable enough that no one just easily sneaks in and out without being noticed, because you really need to break up the door. Just to find out maybe who could be the one. I know you work quite close with the Major because you've worked together for such a long time.
I would like to think so.
Did he behave weirdly, or do you know of any kind of trouble he had with someone over the books? And not the usual, I would like to have it, but it's not really working out struggle that a collector always has, but more like a fighting or really trouble.
The Major was a gentleman. He would not fight.
Any kind of other troubles he talked about to you? Because the question is, why these books and who would have interest?
Psychology roll.
Yeah, Alice would be, especially after what she heard from the cook. Oh god, no. 92.
Inscrutable.
So no one comes to mind to you?
No one, madam.
Anyone behaving weirdly after the Major, bless his heart, died?
No one, madam.
You know you can be open here. It's not about finger pointing and getting into trouble.
Of course, madam.
A quite more political question, as I see, but feel free to answer. Did Clarice clarify with you guys that you all stay on board as staff? And she will do a psychology roll on his reaction on that.
Yes, madam.
So you have the confirmation.
Yes, madam. She needs a butler. She needs a cook. She needs a driver. She needs a
What
gardener.
are these rolls?
She needs a maid.
It's 94. I'm rolling 90s today, so
Absolutely genuine.
genuine. Well, then, thank you for your time.
Thank you, madam. And he bows.
And Alice would leave, quite in thoughts, the room.
And he goes back to his polishing. Do you go back to where you just were?
Yeah.
Okay. Dottie is there.
I will just plonk next to her.
So?
He is a closed book to me. I'm not sure.
And to call him a closed book in front of
Yes,
the
I know.
librarian, that's funny.
After what she told us, he's the one closing the door and opening, so locking everything up in the evening and locking everything open the next morning. So he is obviously the one who could, without problems in the night, get stuff outside.
But why would he?
I have no idea. I try to pinpoint if there's maybe a money issue because Clarice wants to get rid of house staff, but it seems not so. I also could not imagine, but at least I wanted to try and see what happens.
I spoke to Fatma, the maid. You know that Clarice took her father's body to Britain.
Yeah.
Well, Bennu went with her.
Okay.
The others didn't. She saw the butler one day. He went into the library, but she felt that there was something off about him, like he wasn't really aware of what he was doing.
Oh god, that fits really well to what the cook told us.
Except the cook said it was in the evening. That was during the day. Sleepwalking at 11 o'clock at night? Maybe. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon after lunch? I'm not so sure.
Not really. Let me find Clarice for a second.
You can find her easily.
Yeah, she would look, but she would try to get Clarice on her own, that no one else is there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. What have you found out?
I'm not sure yet. I would like to try something, but I need your okay for it because it's quite intrusive. It might be that Heinz is hiding something.
Heinz?
Yes, but I'm not really sure. I would really like to have a peek at his room. Clearly without him knowing. I will not take anything.
Make a persuade roll.
Yeah. Where is it? Well, persuasion is a thing. That works. Psychology isn't, so persuade is a hard success. He will not.
This is a very big question. A very big favor to ask. I mean, he's been with He was with my father for over 40 years.
I know.
My father trusted him blindly with his life. And I mean this literally.
My hope is that we find nothing and it's just stupid circumstances pointing at him.
All right, here's what we'll do. It's his day off in 2 days' time.
Okay.
He always spends the day with friends from the army at an army club.
Mm-hmm.
During the day, his room will be empty. He will not be here.
Okay.
If you'll come at 10 o'clock, he will already have gone out. You have 2 hours. No more,
That
no
is
less.
perfect enough. If you describe already
God
now
forgive me.
where the room is, we will be fine. And as I said,
She explains to you where the room
yeah.
is. It's actually on the first floor,
Oh,
like a little den
so on the where the
on the
library
floor where
is.
the library
Okay.
is.
But I would then afterwards, I would probably correct Clarice that she should have prayed that we find nothing, and this is really just a stupid, like, circumstantial thing at the moment. And I'm quite sure about your answer, but I just want to clarify. You plan to keep the house staff, right? They don't have to worry
Of
about
course.
money? Okay. I just
I
need
mean,
to just get it set, not that I miss a
I
thing.
mean, my mother will return, and then there will again be two of us. We do need staff.
Then all is good. I hoped so, and I believed so, because I clearly would have put a totally wrong picture of you if you would just kick
Why
them out.
did any of them express any fears? I mean, it was never
No,
even discussed. I mean,
it was more sensible reasons why someone would steal books. Just going through the list, and one is money.
oh, I see. Well, I suppose the person who has a little less to do now is Benu, because I just don't use the car as often. But it was never discussed I won't let him go because I mean we have the car
I
and I don't
honestly
drive.
think he is quite generally. Ben was also quite young, right? Or was he more old?
Yeah, no, a little bit younger than you.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe 29, a little bit
Yeah.
older than
I think I think Benno is
I mean, you see, at some point, I mean, I will start socializing again. It's been tough, but then of course I need somebody to drive me
yep,
because I'm not going to take a cab if I've got a car. Not that I'm thrifting for money, but I mean, why have a car and a driver and then take a cab? There simply is no reason for that.
absolutely true, and he's a good driver as far as I've experienced so far.
Yes, he is.
He also made sure we arrive safe and sound in the hotel, not only at the doorstep.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay. I think for the rest, at least, I'm quite sure everyone else is generally sad about what happened. They have no idea.
I'm glad. Not that they're sad, but I'm glad that they have nothing to do with this.
Me too. And I honestly hope that we can find a way to explain Heinz's behavior. Point it like that.
All right. So you proceed to have dinner.
Yes.
It's delicious. Great dessert, nice wine.
Good.
And Benno actually takes you home to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yep.
You go to your room. What do you do?
I think I would be quite late again. Maybe not as late as with Pamela, but it would
No,
still
no, no.
be.
It's pretty much 10.
Then Alice would not go to her room. She would just maybe switch into something more comfy to wear, and then she would grab the book again that she bought and would just sit down on the
On the
couch.
balcony or inside?
I think on the balcony, if it's not too cold already, and she would then
No,
enjoy.
it's not cold.
Yeah.
Make a spot hidden. No, make a listen roll rather.
Listen roll. That is, oh god, is that a one? That is a one. That is a critical success. I hear everything.
You hear everything, and you hear something very, very interesting. You hear footsteps running, like of a 4-footed animal
Mm-hmm.
in the garden. 3 or 4.
Animals. So not the peacocks for sure.
And then you hear disturbed peacocks spreading out and spreading their wings.
Okay. Sounds like cats, maybe.
Do you take a look?
Yeah, Alice for sure will peek over the
Okay, now
whatever it is called in English. What is
give me a
Geländer in
spot hidden
English?
banister.
Banister, thank you. Now spot hidden. That is a success.
Do you have a spyglass?
Yes.
Did you bring one?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure. Because when we're on the Nile, I'm quite sure, so it would be standing in
You are
the.
seeing something that is a little bit odd. You are seeing something in the dark that looks like 4-legged creatures running, but they are really big, very long limbs. Do you take your spyglass to look?
Yes,
Okay.
she's curious.
hmm You take a look.
Mm-hmm. Are the creatures after the peacocks? Does it look like it?
No, they're running towards the hotel. The peacocks just basically got disturbed or startled.
Okay. I am definitely having a closer look. I'm sitting far away upstairs, at least in my mind, because they're on the ground.
They're on the ground. You're on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what you see are humans running on all fours. Those are human bodies. And they have jackal heads. And now you can make a sanity check.
Great. I don't want to do that. Let's see. Sanity is. Although I have a 24.
Okay,
Easily passed.
You lose 3 sanity.
Okay. 3.
And as you are spying them through your little eye, they seem to vanish into the earth.
Alice will look also without the glass, just and back and forth.
They're gone.
She would pull. She would shake her head.
Mm-hmm.
And would clearly get up, go inside, and shut the balcony doors behind her. The question is if Dottie is still up.
Dottie is there and she's looking at you. She passed her psychology roll with a hard success. What's wrong?
I'm not sure you want to hear.
Of course. What's wrong?
Alice will put the spyglass down on the couch table, the book next to it, and will just walk over to the bar and pour a big glass of whiskey for herself and a small one for Dottie, and will put it in front of her.
Alice.
I heard some weird noises down in the gardens. Well, first of all, it sounded like, I don't know, bigger cats running, like something on 4 legs running around and disturbing the peacocks. So curiously enough, watching, I was not sure what I'm seeing, so I picked the spyglass. And Alice would get up and would pull out a book of Egypt And my mind is just fighting on which god is the one with the jackal head. Because I'm quite sure that she would have read about the gods. At least it would be
Yeah,
Anubis,
and you
isn't it?
also went to the Museum of
Yeah, it
Antiquities where
would be
they've got frescoes and
Anubis
stuff.
had
Yeah,
usually the
absolutely.
jackal head.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
she would pull out, and there are always usually pictures and drawings. She would just open to the Anubis page and would point to the drawing. They looked like this. And then they vanished into the earth. And I
You
swear
saw
I haven't drunk that much yet.
you saw Anubis, not only once but several of him
3 of.
in the garden.
Yes. The peacocks clearly saw them too. They were running towards the
Are you sure that
hotel.
you didn't just see jackals?
No, there were definitely. It looked like humans running on 4 legs, but with a jackal head. I did not drink that much at Clarice's place. Just 1 or 2 glasses of wine.
If we just assume for a second that this is correct, what would they be doing here?
I have no idea.
I was afraid you might say that.
I guess I was curious at the wrong time. Next time when I
How?
hear something like that, I just don't look in detail. Just turn around and leave it be.
They didn't really want to talk to you, did they? They're here for different reasons.
I have no idea why they are here. I suspect not about us. I was just stupidly watching them.
Oh, wrong look at the wrong time.
Yeah, I was just there at the wrong time. I think we have nothing to do with Egyptian god thingies.
No.
We also did nothing to disturb Egyptian god thingies, at least not that I know of. We visited a museum, did a flower show, shopping damage.
Yeah, but I really don't think that they wanted the poppy buns.
No, I don't think so. Also not the fish that we bought, so I think it was just me being at the... But that also means we should not be out there when it's dark.
Did they eat the peacocks?
It didn't look like it. They just passed by them and disturbed them.
And then where did they go?
Into the earth. It was just like...
How? Oh.
It's a question. Did Alice see like really earth moving, or was it more vanishing into the earth?
It was actually, you couldn't quite see it. It was more behind trees,
Yeah,
but
but
it
they
seemed like
just-
they were really vanishing because they never came out of the trees again, and they should have because it was like just two trees next to each other.
They just disappeared.
Right.
Alice will take a big sip of her glass. I don't want to see things like that. And the horrible thing is that my brain already is like accepting that this is reality because we have seen weirder stuff.
I'm not sure if drinking whiskey is conducive.
It calms the nerves.
Alice, we spoke about that.
I know. Still calms the nerves. And she will empty the glass, put it on the table, but she will not get up to get more. I'm tempted to maybe understand why Matthew wants a normal life. I don't want to see things like that. I don't want to believe they are real.
You spoke to a deity. She
Also,
physically
that is
appeared in your
something
room.
I don't wanna have to live with. Well, thanks to her,
You saw a Wendigo.
well, we both did that. All of that. No, you did not speak to the deity. That was my pleasure alone.
See? You're special.
We both are, and I don't like that kind of special.
Maybe it's just a fact that we have to come to accept, and drinking isn't helping.
It is.
No.
It calms the nerves.
At one point, you will get so used to it, it'll destroy your life.
We will see.
Shakes her head.
The question, did Dottie touch her glass that Alice put
No.
in front of her? Then Alice will get up. She will grab Dottie's glass. She will exit anyhow, just drink it, and she will go to the kitchen part and will clean up the glasses and put them back to the bar.
This can't become like New York.
This is not New York.
No, but you're drinking.
I'm always drinking.
I know, and we talked about this.
I will drink whenever I think it's sensible and not bringing other people in danger.
'96.
I know you're worried. You don't have to be, at least not about the drinking at the moment. You should be worried about what I've seen.
Well, what you've seen is not in this room.
True. Alice will turn around, she will grab the spyglass, and she will open the balcony door again, and will just step outside again, and will have a snoop around in the garden if she can see anything.
Give me a spot hidden.
I can see not as well as before, but that is a success.
You see peacocks roosting.
Mm-hmm. The peacocks look
Kind of
calm, not disturbed.
Yeah,
not
but
like...
they look a little bit annoyed.
Mhm.
So like they were probably already sleeping when this happened. So ruffled feathers, kind of
Yeah,
like
but
intruders.
not that they're in full excitement
No.
at the moment. Alice will try to see where the things disappeared, just to remember the spot,
You can do this, not a
because
problem. It's
tomorrow
between two
morning
very
she wants to go down there and have a look.
Okay.
Okay. Then she will return back inside, close the doors, put the spyglass back on the table. Nothing to see. But I want to have a look tomorrow morning in the garden, so don't be weirded out when I'm out quite early. I want to get out there before people trample through the garden.
All right. I'll wait with breakfast.
You want to join me in having a look?
If you'll have me,
Sure.
then wake me.
Good. Then
Good.
let's have it like that. And then we should maybe get sleep, because we need to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then Alice would make herself ready. She would probably set the alarm to, I don't know, 6:30. The idea is that by 7 we maybe are able to get down. She would for a minute stare at the book where the envelope is in.
Yeah.
But she decides not to touch it and will just go to bed. Not sure how well she's sleeping. She will probably have the book. She took the book with her about the gods, and she's reading again on Anubis and what she just freshen
Mhm.
up memory about the dear
Yeah,
god.
Anubis is associated with death.
Mm-hmm.
He is the god of, well, I don't think that he's the god of death, but he is associated with the weighing of the soul. You would often see him on murals inside of graves. He's not a dangerous deity.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't kill people, so you only meet him after death.
Yeah.
And he's also not known to interfere with humans on this plane.
Okay. And then hopefully she will fall asleep at least some time.
Make a power check.
Nope. An 88 is far away from
Okay.
successful POW.
Okay. You sleep.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you know, you don't dream.
Good.
The alarm goes off at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Dottie's awake already. She
Mm-hmm.
also set her alarm. And we will see in 4 weeks, probably,
Probably, maybe, we'll see.
what you see in the
Gardens. Oh boy. Oh boy. Supernatural things again. No.
Well, welcome to Egypt.
Well, thank you. And Anubis directly. Yay.
You know, you sometimes have to go with the Cthulhu lore if you're playing Call of Cthulhu. So
I am curious what will happen, and I'm also still curious what Heinz is involved in.
we shall see. All shall be revealed.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for playing. I hope you enjoyed it.
Well, thank you
And-
for running the game.
Yeah, and we will soon see what happens to. Well, nothing will happen to Alice and Dottie.
Sure.
That's not how this works. Everything will be fine.
We have suffered enough. We will never suffer again.
No.
Says the one
Indeed.
who lost 3 sanity.
So we wish you all a pleasant day, evening, morning, whenever you listen to this or watch this recording. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.